Good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, depending on where and when you're watching this broadcast. I'm Thomas Fessa, my friends, and this is Disclosure Tonight. Happy Saturday, June 13th, the third day after Disclosure. Was it a good one? Was it a bad one? Is there still more news coming out? Oh, heck yeah, there is, buddy. There are so many things getting talked about in the news right now and lots of stuff for us to cover. But before we get there, let's go ahead and welcome in our audience. Who else do we have out there in the live show that we are? Who's in the audience? Let's take a look and see. Amiga Rules is in the chat along with April. We got Country Carpenter and Craig Smith. Craig Williams is out there along with Daily Saging Donna. We got Eliza Teal, Geraldine Durazio, Ghost, and Hobbit Mouse is out there. Good to see you, my friends. We got Jan and JJ and J Cat Meow and Jericho and Jerry and Junior Brand and Kelly Broughton, those piercing blue eyes. Good to see you, Kelly, as always. We got Kiwi, DJ, along with Metal Gaming 420, our resident Bogart, folks. Write that down. We got mostly, definitely not CIAs in the chat, along with Necessary Dialogue. And Niles Guy, take a look, my friends. He's our resident Pitbull. Literally, look at his photo. We got Psycho Snot out there, along with Randy Robert John Music, Scooby Dooby Gooby, and Schlato de Puma. Who else is out there? We got Sire Alert, Source Code 101, Stephen Forbes, The Coin 405, Wild E. Underwood, and Yellow Tommy Tanker, also known as Andy. On that note, let's take this energy and jump into the studio by saying those three magic words. Mike. How the hell are you?
Sir.
How the hell are you,
I'm
my
doing
friend?
well. Doing good. We're going to have, I believe, another interesting show for our international audience today. It's going to be good.
Yeah. Well, we're far enough
Yeah,
into the
a lot to talk
broadcast. I can bring this up, and all I have to say is, what the
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God. How could this happen? Well, he's on TV a lot. He does a lot of interviews, more than anybody else. I guess we could have got him or Neil deGrasse Tyson. Maybe that's why Tyson has changed his tune these days.
No, I don't think anybody takes Tyson seriously at this point. No. So I guess they went with Avi Loeb because he still has credentials at Harvard.
Yeah. Maybe that's what Luna went to talk to him about. Remember that about a month ago? Luna went to talk, to hang out?
Yes, I do.
He took that 3.5-hour drive from D.C. up to Avi's place.
Yeah, they would have done better if they put Lou in charge of this, in my opinion.
Much better. I would have to agree 1,000% on that one, Mike.
Yeah.
So, yeah, let's get to this. Let's get into it. We've got some announcements here. Let's get through all these different, not the business, but the business for the show. Not that one. Oh, here we go. We got some great events going on at the White House right now before we get to Avi. You know, the Redneck 4th of July? Kind of.
Oh, God.
County Fair 4th of July in front of the White House. What am I talking about? Oh, let's bring it up. Let's get to it. There we go. What a great, man, that is a picture. Who would have ever thought? Not me. All right, Let's get out of that one. Where is it? We got Lou. We got stuff on COVID origins. Oh, yeah, it's back again. So here we go. We've got a video message coming from Avi Loeb, the professor over at Harvard. Let's go ahead and let's get into this about his important announcement. We got a press brief we'll get to shortly as well. Let's, come on. Let's just play. Here we go. Let's listen to what he has to say. And then we'll have a lot of things to say. This is important, folks.
What could be better of doing than the establishment of a new UAP Science Advisory Council by the White House, AARO, the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, ODNI, the FBI, and all intelligence community members. This is not wishful thinking, but a reality now. Over the past week, I was tasked by the above organizations to create a research team of young scientists who will serve on this council. The council, under my leadership, includes the following members: Dr. Richard Cloet and Dr. Regina Sarmiento, with expertise in data analysis and data management with AI tools. Professor Matthew Zidagis, with expertise in instrumentation and data collection. Dr. Devesh Nandal, with expertise in numerical analysis and astrophysics. And Dr. Omer Eldadi, with expertise in data management, AI, and human psychology. This constitutes an amazing A-team of exceptional scientists.
Yeah, it does. At least we know of one of them on that panel, Mike.
We do, and it was a great choice on Avi's part, or whoever chose to have that person on. We know that firsthand. And it also gives us insight into what's going to be going on there in that council.
Yeah. Now, we're talking with Zidagis. We did this a couple months ago, Mike, one of the recent conversations we had with him. He was the one who confirmed the observations that have been going on, that a lot of UAP are actually cloaked. And when they're cloaked, you can see them at a negative, only with a camera that can see down to a negative 60 degree Fahrenheit or Celsius. It's freaking cold. And otherwise, they're completely invisible across all spectrums. Not only that, those craft are like chevron shaped, which is kind of like a widened V. And they're usually, if you want to call it, moving around with an orb in tandem. So at least Matthew Zidagis, we know one of them at least has had his hands in this for a while. If you look back at the time frame, he was involved in the organization called UAPX before it went to the shitters. He's been working with Dr. Kevin Knuth, who's he's a
engineer.
No, he's a physicist.
Kevin is an engineer by trade.
Yeah, I thought he's a physicist.
No, engineer.
Okay.
But very knowledgeable on this subject.
Very knowledgeable, and they've been doing research on the non-human intelligence and crafts. I mean, they were also in the movie, what was it, A Terror in the Sky?
Yes, correct.
Yeah. Lots of different involvement. At least there's one person, but you never know where the head of the committee is going to go, because you've heard that so many times. People on a committee maybe do not agree with what's going on in the direction it's going, but usually it's the chairman who gets to set the direction and tone for everything that's going on.
Unfortunately, that's true, which means that this council may not be all that it's cracked up to be.
Right.
And that's what we're going to have to keep an eye on.
You know, the last time they brought in a scientific council on this kind of stuff, or to a degree, wasn't that, who was it again? Or during Blue Book, who shut everything down? Tim? What's his name again?
Oh, Edward Condon?
No, it was Condon. No, there was another scientist who was there who was part of it. Andy, I'll call on you. We'll figure out who it was in the meantime. Yeah, Andy, what say you?
I'm thinking, actually, I know we're right at the start of the show, but, you know, judging by who's involved with this, obviously Avi, and then you've got Arrow, and you've got the FBI involved. Maybe it's time, you know, to hit everybody with a poll straight away, what they think about this.
Well, you know what, Andy, that's a good idea, but let's talk about the way we feel about this, and then we'll let the audience decide what they think. We'll give them some background, I believe.
Yeah.
No, Mike.
We know Avi Loeb has been not always pro-disclosure.
He's been a proponent against it, because if you look back at the time that Sean Kirkpatrick was involved, the head of ARO, Kirkpatrick, drove 3.5 hours back in 2022, I think it was, go ahead and meet with Avi Loeb to get him to go ahead and write a rebuttal, wasn't it, against the National Academy of Sciences, Mike, from Ukraine?
But here's the key points about that meeting. He did it late at night at Avi Loeb's house because there would be no phone communications and no paper trail.
Right. Well, he drove up there unannounced, supposedly.
Right. So we knew that he was up to no good, but simply how he handled this entire meeting that he had off the record. And then they came up with that paper that he and Avi Loeb submitted together. So it was definitely disinformation that seemed to have been going on from that
Right.
meeting.
So now what the Ukrainians did is they were figuring out that if they were seeing some things out of one of their cameras looking up in the sky, and they were seeing things equivalent to the same crafts that we've been seeing in, where was that? In Malta.
Ukraine. Yeah.
Well, no, we saw this in Malta, and the video that we have in Malta matches up with the crafts that they were seeing from Ukraine. So
Right.
they were observing them really fast moving black objects. They were absorbing all light, not reflecting anything. They got it out of one observatory. So they brought a secondary observatory online. Now they've got two different observatories, like 20, 30 kilometers apart, both looking up at the same place. And they got results that verified from one telescope array to the next, and they were able to triangulate these craft and actually figure out their height in the sky, their azimuth, to figure out the speed that they were going. It was an amazing discovery that went on. Within a day or so of that paper coming out, that's when Kirkpatrick went to Avi's house, driving 3.5 hours unannounced, rang his doorbell, worked with Avi to co-author a paper, and directed him pretty much to write this paper to go ahead and debunk and saying what they're seeing was completely false. Take two. A year later, Avi Loeb is, along with Kirkpatrick, goes and debunks the Tic Tacs. Why? Because he said there's no way that a craft could come into the upper atmosphere from 80,000 feet and go down to 50 feet without bursting into a fireball.
Right. Using known physics that don't always apply to UAP phenomenon.
Bingo. Bongo.
And he dismissed that, right. Which had Kirkpatrick all over it.
And I just realized with a little practice, I'll be able to do Avi's voice pretty easily.
Oh, yeah. But it's what this is establishing is a connection between Arrow and Avi Loeb, and not in a good way. And now he's doing it again with Arrow.
Right.
So here we go again. I'm not going to expect any different results at this point, just because of the track record and the history.
Good way to put it. Daryl, your hand is up, my friend.
Just throwing this out there. It's an 8-hour one-way drive from D.C. to Harvard.
Maybe, okay, so he didn't drive to Harvard. He drove to Avi's house.
Right.
I'm pretty sure he lives.
Which
that's
was
where he lives.
supposedly a 3.5 hour drive that that Kirkpatrick did. He took off from work early.
I think he lives in Cambridge.
Okay.
Just saying, it's a bigger deal.
Much bigger
honestly,
distance.
right?
Yes. I'd have to agree. Thanks, Daryl. I appreciate the logistics on that one.
As always, I'm your logistical officer.
There we go. Operations.
That is it.
Logistics is how we can get the shit from here to there, right? I think so.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. Yeah, interesting things these days. Let me get into the guest here so we can bring up our next story and what's going on. So yeah, Avi has had his hands dirty in a lot of things. We're going to have to see where it's going to go. I guess we could potentially have that survey now, Mike. Unless there's things you'd like to bring up.
Said he just lost. He dropped out. I'm sure he'll pop back in.
Yep. All right.
Lost
Thanks. Appreciate it. All right. So on that note, let me go ahead and get this down and bring up the survey for what we're going to do here. Let me bring this one down as well. Let me bring this around. Here we go. Let's start a poll. Bring it up for this. Where'd it go? Thomas. All right. Here we go. Survey time. Make it a little bit larger. I don't even write this.
Yeah, it's confirmed. He lives 8 hours from DC.
All right. Here we go. First survey of the night. Let's get up the sound effects a little wider for everybody. the front and the back. All right, so here we go, folks. Here's today's first survey coming in. Avi Loeb is the head of the UAP Scientific Council. Is it a good thing? 11% of the audience so far, with 36 votes in, saying it's a good thing. Give it time, Francis. 37%. Where we have a bad thing as it was at 51%, it is at 52%, and I don't think it's going to go much farther than that. We've got the Edwin. What say you?
Do we know how this advisory council is going to work? Are they going to work directly out of the White House, or are they just going to be? Do we know the mechanics of how this?
They wouldn't be work. They would not be working directly out of the White House. They're an advisory council who's working under the scope of the executive branch, but all these scientists have their own lives, and they're all going to be a part of something, so it's probably going to be done from their individual locations unless they really all need to come together.
An advisory council, so...
It's not an well, it's a scientific council. It's not an advisory council.
Okay, well, it's still concerning, but hopefully they don't have any leeway or say in what gets released and what doesn't get released. If Avi Loeb thinks that the Tic Tac is what did he say about the Tic Tac?
The Tic Tac was an optical illusion because there's no way a craft can move from 80,000 feet to 50 feet in a fraction of a second and not burst into a ball of flames.
Oh God, we're in trouble if that's the case. If that's
oh yes, it is. Doesn't matter where they're working from. It's the mindset of the leader that's there that's of great concern. Hey Google, set a timer for 30 seconds.
30 seconds. Starting.
Daryl, how would you vote on this one?
I say give it time, Francis. Here's my study of Trump for 8 or 9 years is that he would call this or refer to this in general as a blue ribbon committee. And when he calls something a blue ribbon committee, he's like, his thought on that is, it's another blue ribbon committee. He's the ultimate arbiter of what comes out.
Right.
You know?
The president would be, but this is more just a scientific council on what's going on. Hopefully this is looking at more recent events and seeing really good data, because Avi Loeb said last night that he's got his observatories and they've never seen anything yet. All these other observatories and all these other people out there see stuff on a regular basis, and yet his expensive equipment that they've spent millions of dollars on putting in multiple locations hasn't been able to pick up shit.
I agree with you on that, Tom. I find it weird that his scientific Harvard observatories don't see anything, but you can go on YouTube and find a live cam right now of somebody looking at something moving in the sky. So
yeah, well, a lot of the things we're seeing on those sites where they're saying, "Oh my God, look at this stuff," and it's up in the sky. A lot of those things are all just prosaic elements. None of the stuff is doing zigzags and everything else.
I do agree with that, and I think if Avi's going to sit here and say that his stuff is not seeing anything, that he should be a little bit more transparent. We should be able to see some of his work. Without being able to see his work, we're just getting another story from the government.
That's true, my friend.
I really do agree with you in your point on the panel, what is it called? The council could be skewed depending on whoever the leadership is. But I do agree with Daryl. At the end of the day, it's going to be on whoever's leading the White House as to what's going to be dropped.
Well, yeah, and they don't necessarily, this isn't about approving what stuff comes out and what doesn't. This is looking at the scientific data of what all the different agencies are collecting and having independent scientists come in and start looking at this data to give their proper assessment on it. Go ahead then here. I need to go look something up here, because I mean, if we've got the one paper that we're talking about done before, this is the paper that Avi Loeb went and wrote back in October 5th, 2022, and within a day or so of the results coming out from Ukraine and down to earth limits on unidentified aerial phenomena. Again, this is just one of the things where he likes to constrain everything within the known physics realm, but we're dealing with stuff that actually is beyond our known physics, that's beyond the capabilities and knowledge of humanity, and sometimes you have to take that in consideration. Syrup, your hand is up.
Yeah, I had a thought on this too. I don't know if this is a good thing, because I feel like them doing this is almost like, how can you set up this committee if you don't even have all the facts yet? You haven't released all the files yet. You haven't acknowledged once all the facts are laid out, then you set up a committee, right? Why are they setting up this committee if they don't even know what's going on yet?
Yeah, well, exactly. And when we're talking
That's a
about
really good
UFOs, we're talking about a better suited propulsion technique that was used in all space missions from Earth is chemical rockets. Since rockets carry their fuel, they can navigate to a designed planet and slow down near it. So he's not even considering wormholes or anything. He's just trying to say there's no way there could be other life that has come to this planet, which is crazy. Corporal Abe.
No, I agree with Sir 100,000% on what he just said, man. I mean, like, how can Avi, if he doesn't understand the science of what he's looking at, then go and make a determination with the council about something that they don't understand?
Right.
I mean, I get it that we need transparency, and until we get the full transparency, all the files at once, and we all are on the same page, the council is just going to, I don't know what they're going to come up with.
Yeah. I mean,
how can they?
He goes on a little bit more. Devices which need to refuel would have favor a habitable planet or liquid water or combustible organic fuel can be available for them to recharge. Planets can be identified. So he just goes in that saying the speeds of the objects are not possible. We talk about the distance of Proxima Centauri and what it would take to get here. So he's just taking, like the rocket technology that was initially brought to the United States from the Nazis, from Werner von Braun, and trying to apply that to modern observations for stuff that blows any human technology out of the water.
I want to be positive about this in the poll. I picked, let's give it some time, Francis, because I just think that it's too early to make a determination, but I'm hoping that it's going to be a positive thing.
Yeah. And yes, we hope he's not just another shill for the government.
It's starting to look like it might be. I don't know. Maybe he can.
I gotta do one thing here really.
Well, I'll vote give it some. I'm going to vote give it some time as well. I do know that we're going to see Avi Loeb on TV a lot, most likely, explaining, coming up with explanations for UAP sightings, and then he goes about and talks about a space rock that's an alien ship that's on its way to planet Earth. This seems to me like a deception coming out of Avi Loeb. I hope I'm wrong. We'll give it some time, but just look how he deceives when he gets on TV.
Yeah, we'll see where it goes, and more importantly, the word will be coming out of the other scientists and people that's out there. Let's see what Grok says, if they can find the name of the scientist. To Alan J. Hynek was the one I was looking for. Alan J. Hynek. Hopefully this isn't another Alan J. Hynek. Michael, go ahead.
And I wonder, will he be working under a non-disclosure agreement, him and his staff?
Of course they will.
And then so anything that they can withhold any information they want.
Yes, that's true. So it's another hole has now been poked into this. Andy, what say you?
Yeah, I'm going to bounce on J. Allen Hynek. We all know he tried to shut it down, but then what happened to the guy? He turned it around. He actually went from, somebody who didn't believe, he went to becoming a leader, a believer. God, my brain's gone fried today. But yeah, he's gone to becoming a believer. So much so we saw him actually appear in Close Encounters of the Third Kind on a very, very brief clip. But so I voted that, having Avi Loeb as a leader of this panel not being a very good thing, but who knows, he may well come around one day.
He may. Again, in the conclusions in this paper, I conclude the reported speeds and sizes of the phantom objects would have generated fireballs of detectable optical luminosity at their suggested distances and speeds. So the objects could not have appeared dark.
It's also concerning to me that there's nobody on the panel that's either like an aviation expert I didn't hear, or someone with some kind of military and tactical and classification background and say, oh, that's one of our sensor platforms. Let's just bypass that shit altogether.
Well, hopefully they'll be working with them, because it's supposedly it's not just the FBI and everybody else.
We didn't hear any names like, oh, Colonel blah, 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 or Admiral, blah, 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 you know?
Right.
Like, so I feel like that's a little disturbing.
So the final results we had for the survey, 18% said a good thing. 43% said it's a bad thing. 38% said give it some time, Francis, but we did have a clear winner without having to do a runoff of it's a bad thing.
Well, obviously, we knew that already. It's a bad thing.
Yep.
We've been pointing this out for a long time now about Avi Loeb.
Yeah.
That's not by accident.
He's compromised. That's right. He's
Right.
He's someone who's, been toting the line from the government. Remember, isn't he an ex-Israeli intelligence agent?
Mossad, yes. Let's not forget that he's also trying to get $1 billion out of Congress for his work, tax-free.
Mike, he just got his panel, which means he's probably got a budget.
No.
Oh, wait a
that
minute.
goes
The
without
$1 billion he wanted, that was for, if you want to call
Research.
it, going ahead and researching interstellar objects like Oumuamua or Three-Eye Atlas.
Right.
Forget about that shit. Let's look at the stuff that's already here. Stop looking out into the middle of deep space. We have to focus on what's on our planet that we're on. And don't look for excuses why it can't be here. Take the facts of what we're seeing and base your results on that, not on your prior assumption and bias that you bring into this.
Right. Let's not leave out the fact as well that he created the Galileo project, which was supposed to develop sensors to monitor the activity in our skies. And that was going years ago.
Yeah.
Have we heard anything from him on that?
Yeah,
No.
we had a video on it last night, and they haven't found shit.
Nope.
What
We
is the
ain't
old
found
saying
shit.
again?
Right.
Yeah.
Which is highly suspicious.
It usually is. All right, let's take a look here. We've got a bunch of news from Disclosure and everything going on. We've got Lou Elizondo on here on Elizabeth Vargas. It was probably on last night's episode. Let me go ahead and get this together so we can go ahead and show this here. Talking about the release we got yesterday and the orbs that are going on, and our dear friend Lou Elizondo's on there. So let's go ahead and bring this up, Mike.
Yeah, this is a good one.
Actually, you know what? I want to go ahead and do this, and I want to bring it down. Let me just later download the video really quick. I want us to go full screen for our audience so they can enjoy the quality that I pay for. Reveal and there we go. Got this here. Let's move her out of the way. Let's bring it up full screen. All right, now we can do it. Here we go, folks.
Get more now with our panel. Lou Elizondo is the former director of a Pentagon unit that studied UFOs. He's also the executive director of the recent documentary Age of Disclosure. And Miguel Sancho is a veteran television producer and author of his new book, Evidence of the Extraordinary, takes readers inside all sorts of UFO investigations. Great to have both of you here. Miguel, let's take a look again at this orb video. It's from the ones from July of last year in a remote part of the Northeast. A couple says they saw this brilliant red sphere with a white plasma center about the size of a basketball hovering for some time until a second orb joins it. Then they fly off. The files say the witnesses are credible. The video is from their iPhone. What do you make of it?
Great to be with you, for starters. Great to be with Lou. He's one of the heroes of my book. What do we know about orbs, right? So the public, as they're kind of getting accustomed to this whole discourse, they've heard of Tic Tacs, and they've, of course, heard of flying saucers. But it turns out that orbs are among the most common, if not the most common, type of UAP cited and reported. So they're out there. In fact, you can find, orb UAP videos from consumer smartphones all over the internet. What makes these particular ones interesting? Well, a couple things. First of all, the FBI not only seemed to deem...
Yes, Andy?
Yeah, I just want to jump in on that. But again, they're showing that footage. It was the CGI or the AI.
No, that wasn't CGI. That was an actual video that was recorded by individuals at their house. We read through the reports last night.
Right. Okay. My bad.
No problem.
particular witness is credible, but in at least one of the videos, one of the incidents, it appears that FBI agents went out, interviewed some of these eyewitnesses, and themselves witnessed a UAP, if not more than one, and took some photos. So there's a higher degree of credibility here than with your average, mystery light in the sky. Very easily could be misidentified as Mars or a plane or a balloon in some cases. The other thing is this plasma factor. Now, what do we know about plasma? Well, it aligns with kind of a main theory of ufology, which is that it would be some sort of plasma-based technology that would enable a UFO, an extraterrestrial craft, to travel either faster than the speed of light or interdimensionally. So, go ahead.
Yeah, and I know, Lou, you have some experience of your own with orbs. What did you see, and does it look like what we're seeing in these videos?
Yeah, Elizabeth, thank you very much for having me. The reality is that the U.S. government has known about this part of the phenomenon for decades upon decades. It really started back in the 1940s during the height of World War II, where Allied pilots often reported the phenomenon and gave them a name. They called them Foo Fighters. And lo and behold, year after year, decade after decade, the U.S. government, to include my organization at the Pentagon, continued to investigate these orbs, or these balls of plasma. And the reality is, I actually know the family where some of these videos were taken that you're showing, and the FBI agents. And I'm telling you, these FBI agents are dead serious.
And they saw it too.
They did, in fact, yes. And in fact, in the last tranche released by the White House about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, there was actually a very interesting report, almost hair-raising, where a senior member of the Director of National Intelligence himself was sent on an investigation to a sensitive military installation. And he himself, along with a helicopter pilot, witnessed for nearly 20 minutes these orbs interacting with their helicopter.
Well, that's extraordinary. Miguel, we also have these sightings in the western part of the United States from 2023. The original reports of these incidents came out with the first document up, but now we have these CGI animations. Why is the FBI creating these animations, devoting the resources to making these recreations?
So, again, the interesting thing about the Western sightings that were mentioned first in the first tranche, dumped a few weeks ago, is that they are part of a ongoing trend of sightings, well-documented sightings out in the West. Now, of course, the West is a huge place, but in Arizona alone, there have been a number of interesting anomalous videos that we've reported on before at News Nation that show anomalous aerial phenomenon. And in addition, aside from videos, there are literally dozens of reports that have been filed by Army and Air Force pilots, documented by the FAA, out there near the Arizona border. So again, what we have here is a large number in both quantity and quality of witnesses and accounts. Yeah. The other thing is with the plasma business there, they talk about orbs coming out of orbs. That also aligns with an interesting theory, the so-called theory of von Neumann probes, which is a theory that extraterrestrials would be sending probes and motherships that would replicate themselves and surveil or conduct reconnaissance on the Earth that way.
They're here. They have always been here. They've been here longer than we have. So do they really need probes flying around right now to figure out what's happening on Earth?
No, they did not.
No, they don't. Just trying to be calm about this, but it's just...
You got to call out the bullshit.
You get that same frickin' bullshit again and again and again of these freaking theories that were out there, that were put out there in the 40s, 50s, or 60s, or even 70s at this point, and trying to explain what we're seeing as something else other than what we're actually seeing. They try to quantify their scientific expertise by citing this stuff, but we need to start looking at this in a more realistic manner.
Correct. That's what we do here.
Yep, exactly.
For the audience. Right.
Absolutely.
Okay. Listen.
It's out there. Lou will back me up on that.
With each one of these document dumps, the latest, of course, being today, we're not only getting more information about the UAPs, these orbs that are launching other orbs, but we're also getting information about how the U.S. government's been handling reports of these sightings for decades. In today's documents, we got further confirmation, Lou, that while the government was actively trying to debunk claims to the public, internally, it was taking these things quite seriously.
You're absolutely right, Elizabeth. And in fact, when I was even at the Pentagon myself and we were...
In other words, the government's been lying to us about this all along.
Yeah, no shit, Sherlock.
Yeah.
Investigating, my organization investigating these... There was an active effort to try to suppress this information. And as we know, from 2023, AARO was allegedly in charge of investigating UAP for the United States government. And all the while, they were telling Congress nothing to see here, folks. Now we find out that the CIA, and particularly the FBI and the Department of Defense, did indeed conduct their own investigations, and we're actually finding some very interesting results as part of those investigations.
Wow. Well, it's fascinating stuff. It's interesting. There's a poll out that shows more than half of Americans now believe in UFOs and extraterrestrial life. And I'm sure these document dumps and all this disclosure is going to a long way toward building that. Miguel Sancho, Lou Elizondo, thank you both so much. Really appreciate it.
There you go. Interesting video out there, Mike. Your thoughts on this one as we get ready for our next. Oh, Timmy's here.
Yeah, he is.
He keeps on popping up on the front camera, even though his microphone's off.
Yeah, that's okay. No, it's obvious disinformation and bullshit that they just keep trying to put out there. Which again, because we know this is an ongoing thing, this new council with Avi Loeb, it's like it's going to be going in the right direction.
No.
Unfortunately.
Exactly. You got to watch out. It may go ahead and upset your lunch.
Yeah. At the very least. I agree.
All right. Now, another report coming from NewsNation, Mike. Could UFO reports just be Chinese drones?
You got to be fucking kidding me.
Harvard University's Avi Loeb joins a panel of UAP experts to break down the latest government release of the UFO files. Ooh.
Oh, he's debunking already. Look at that.
Well, let's see. Let me get this up here, make it a little bit better for us. There it is. 1280 by 720. It's better than nothing, folks. Let's enjoy it. All right. So I've got sharpening on here to improve the upscaling, but not as good as I'd like. But you know what? Let's see what Avi Loeb was saying. But Mike, when he did this interview yesterday, he already knew that he's got this new post in the government.
Absolutely.
Right? Absolutely.
Yeah. So let's see what he says on this.
Exactly.
He'll
Let
make our point
the
for us.
sick kids sleep.
Yeah.
Government continues.
Hold on. Here we go. We played this one last night. Here we go. There we go. Video full.
Government continues to say it's found no verified evidence of extraterrestrial technology. So is this real transparency? Is it distraction from everything else that's happening?
Based on his voice, how tall do you think he is?
In Washington, is this the greatest movie marketing campaign of all time? I want to bring in our all-star UFO panel to break it down. Avi Loeb, astrophysicist, Harvard professor, one of the world's leading voices on the scientific search for extraterrestrial life. Jordan Flowers, the executive director of the Disclosure Foundation, an organization advocating for greater government transparency on UAPs. And Sarah Gabb is a former intelligence analyst with a...
Pause. I think all three of these, Mike, are all on the panel at the UAP Disclosure Fund. Avi's one of the directors. This is one of the executive directors, and I think she's part of their panel. So just want to make sure everybody knows what we're dealing with here is a coordinated effort from the UAP Disclosure Fund to talk about this. Interesting.
An astrophysicist, who is part of the Department of Defense's UAP task force. Great to have you all here. Sarah, I just mentioned it. You were an analyst there. How do the files, how do what we saw today compare to what you've seen? I mean, are we getting the whole picture?
No, definitely not yet. The whole picture is far from being released, but I think it's a good progress on chipping away a little bit more.
Okay, but just let me follow up on that. What do you make of this? I mean, the idea that you're seeing the orbs, and Avi, I'm going to come to you also, but you see the orbs, and then these reports of GPS disruption and the gamma radiation. How should we be thinking about that?
I think it's amazing what has been released, and that is also what we've been hearing for a long time now. Right. I know on the task force days there was a lot of reports of power outages at places, at military bases, and elsewhere across the world. So none of this is a surprise to me, and I will remain hopeful that we will get more and more data.
Avi, this is a big day for you. Not only the release, you also saw Disclosure Day. It's almost like your birthday, but you got to tell me, you're looking at these objects, the orbs. I don't know what to make of it. Do you have an answer?
Well, I must say, I just saw indeed the movie that Steven Spielberg made up out of his artistic taste and imagination, but reality is far.
Oh, man, what a fucking slight. Now, Spielberg said that movie was based on real events. But he just said, that he made up. It's fantasy. Alice?
Hi, Thomas. Hi, everybody. I find it very interesting that Avi was tapped for a position with the government because he was so outspoken about Three-Eye Atlas and the anomalies. And now that the government's looking for his input, I wonder if, in the scheme of things, he may know more than we think he did, or the government knows that he knows more than
Great
the
topic
general
on
public.
Avi. Yeah, but for this part, what we're seeing right now, he's already taking the story about Disclosure Day and already throwing it under the bus. I'm just going to rewind it a little bit. Great points on him, Alice. We'll follow up on that in a bit. Let's get back to the story. My concern here is about Avi going ahead and literally dissing what was put out by Steven Spielberg, who said this is based on real world things, people they've interviewed, stuff that's in the knowledge base that's out there. But Avi is, with his little smirk, throwing it under the bus. Let's see where this goes.
He's correcting it. He said Steven Spielberg completely made this all up.
Yeah,
I heard him. Not a good start.
I rewound it a little bit. Let's see where this goes.
The movie that Steven Spielberg made up out of his artistic taste and imagination.
He made up out of his artistic tastes.
Right. But reality is far more imaginative than scriptwriters in Hollywood. And what we read in the release today is quite intriguing. And my main concern, frankly, is that perhaps we're dealing with very sophisticated Chinese drones that are being... There
you go. What we're dealing with is advanced Chinese drones.
Well, and see, that's my point about not having like an admiral or a military representative at the same level as Avi. If he's
doesn't matter. Avi has
or,
seen all this stuff. He's been seeing all the same evidence, and this is what he's saying right now.
He can't determine what a Chinese drone is from what a UAP is from a rock on the bottom of the ocean floor. Is my point.
Yeah, but he calls us tiny little balls. He brings it from the bottom of the ocean, remnants of a interstellar object that crashed into our planet when it's actually just coal slag.
And that's what scares me, Tom, because a fucking military guy's not going to waste his time on a rock on the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah, but Abe, Thomas and I's point about Avi Loeb is the fact that he is consistently debunking this subject every chance he gets. So
I agree with that, Mike. And I'm just saying that I'm afraid because he doesn't have some kind of oversight with some kind of tactical threat. He's sitting here saying that everything's a fucking Chinese drone. Well, go ask the military if it's a Chinese drone, and he's not the expert. Just because he's a scientist, he's not going to be able to make the determination whether or not it's a Chinese drone.
He seems like he's an IC plant to debunk anything that's being brought out. At least in my own perspective.
I agree. It's something weird. It's weird.
Yes.
Hey, Thomas, a quick question. Who do you think the bigger grifter is, Greer or Avi Loeb?
Greer, final answer.
That are being deposited throughout the U.S.
No, Greer is a grifter. Loeb is the IC plant. They're both getting money from someplace, or positions promised or whatever it is. But yeah.
And Neil deGrasse Tyson feels left out, I'm sure.
What a fucking mess.
Absolutely. That's why he had to go on Piers Morgan in the UK and talk, because he's not relevant.
Like last night.
Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Well,
we just don't recognize that, and I think that should be a very serious concern within the intelligence agencies.
But Avi, what makes you say that? What's about the way they're moving and separating? Why do you think it could be a Chinese drone?
Well, we are looking at orbs, and the simplest interpretation is that there might be drones that are, for example, releasing baby drones out of them, smaller ones. I'm not sure how feasible that is. Now, the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, led by John Koslowski, looked into the report from 2023, and in fact, analyzed it in great detail, and he wrote a full memo about it in this release from a week ago, from the 5th of June, and he says that
the release happened yesterday, so how could he be writing something about the current release a week ago?
Yeah, but he's saying that Arrow wrote the release, and if Arrow wrote the release, there's a compromise right there. Arrow was compromised back then. And
they're still compromised.
He's compromised because he's trying to sell this fucking Arrow information. This is a compromise whole thing. You're right. This is ridiculous.
He's making the points that Thomas and I have been making, that he is compromised and ties right back to Arrow again.
It does. That's what I was asking Tom before the show. I was like, yo, didn't I see something yesterday about Arrow? And we were looking, but I haven't nailed it down. I'm still looking for it. But I feel like this whole council is bullshit right now. And this release is bullshit.
No, there is a gem in there. That's Matthew Sedegas. He knows what he's doing. But are the other people going to outvote him under
the bus?
Or will he be shut down by Avi himself as the head of this?
He might get thrown under the bus. He might be a pawn right now. They just needed a famous name, a famous scientist name, and a bunch of other people said no.
Yeah.
40% of the phenomena cannot be explained based on what they know, based on technologies the U.S. possesses, and the technologies that foreign adversaries possess. So I must say it's very puzzling. The best way forward would be to get more data and figure it out. I mean, it's like a detective story.
Right. It definitely is. Jordan, this is the part that I took away from the whole day. The FBI reaction, right? It's not just accounts of, hey, we heard these reports, interesting. You got FBI agents saying, are you seeing this? Their own, and goes to the larger part where people who believe that this is a cover-up, people who believe that the government knows exactly what it is. If the FBI seemingly doesn't know what this is, what do you make of that?
That's exactly right. The FBI, and this is important for your audience to understand as well, not only are senior members of Congress taking this issue extremely seriously, the FBI is actively investigating several different aspects of this phenomena, from potential criminal activity involved in treatment of whistleblowers to the incursions against our sensitive military airspace. So the FBI is involved, and I have been told on Capitol Hill that the briefing that the FBI has been providing to members of Congress about this topic has been, quote, the hottest ticket in town, and more members have been receiving that, and I think that's one of the reasons why this topic has escalated rapidly from maybe a top 10 issue to truly a top 3 issue in this administration.
It's actually in the top 5 is what we heard a couple days ago from something a little bit more knowledgeable than here. Yes, it was. They're talking in the top 200, if you want to call it, items in the priority, and this is in the top 5. Now, if he's saying it's in the top 3, then we get a better idea. It's probably number 3. It's still in the top 5, but it's an important piece for the government, especially Trump loves the numbers. He likes to see how many people are interested in 1.7 billion hits before even the last, if you want to call it, release that came out. Andy, your hands up.
Yeah, Avi Loeb, I don't know. I've started using a word that I would never have been from a UK use, but because of our friend Mike Disclosure, Avi Loeb, I think, is a schmuck.
Just to be clear, we're using the word schmuck here before Mike came in, but it's a term we both love a lot.
It's not a term we use in the UK, but yeah, I've started using it recently.
Oh, you should. It's a great term. Wonderful.
It's a great term. I love it. But I don't have great high hopes for this this panel or whatever it is.
Thomas, if you want to throw more, sorry, Andy. If you want to throw more gas, if you want to throw more gasoline on the fire, you can click the link I just posted in the back chat.
Let's watch the rest of this video before the next other videos, because this is really in the news, folks. Here's the thing. Irrespective of where we've got Avi and everything, in the last, since our first UFO release happened, have we ever seen so many stories in mainstream media about UFOs?
Not like this, no.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm sounding like that annoying guy who's on CNN when I'm driving to work at 5 o'clock in the morning. But it's true. How many? We never used to see this much. Tim was even talking about that before the show, although he won't now.
Yeah.
Well, yesterday we were talking about who was it? Was it Tim or Mike, or I don't remember which one of you guys it was, or Daryl? It was one of you guys that were talking about The View, and that was a big deal. I even reposted. I'm not a fan, but my mom was a fan.
Yep.
And all the ladies I know in my life were fans of The View.
That's why I bookmarked it, because it was a monumental thing to hear Whoopi talking about that.
It's a big deal. I'm just mad that Whoopi got cut off at the end. Like, you cut the one person in Hollywood that might know something about Star Trek, Gene Roddenberry, and what was told to them.
We may hate who the people are, but the fact that the message is coming out is your point. Like my dad, he recognized an astrophysicist.
Yeah.
He said, do you know who Neil deGrasse Tyson is? He came out with this book about UFOs. So you got my dad, we got your grandmother and your mom. It's kind of hitting all different levels.
Yeah, no, it ain't. Well, my parents are dead, but I agree with you there. But here's my question to you, Daryl, is how do you then go and explain to your dad, well, Pop, Neil deGrasse isn't really the guy to go to in this subject? Because I had somebody else come to me, and it was about DC Muscle Wolf. And they were like, yo, you see this guy? And I was like, oh, that's the worst person to even. Yeah, and I'm like, damn, now you're getting into it. And for years, I've told you about this. It was a military guy, and he really is into Dr. Greer now.
So I went there immediately with my dad. I go, Dad, it's really interesting because the first drop of UFO stuff came out, and amazingly, Neil deGrasse Tyson's book came out the next day.
Yeah.
Don't you think that's kind of coincidental? Now, see, for my dad, he loves controversy. Like the fact that I'm throwing water on a fire, he's going to go pay attention to the fire more now.
Hopefully, even though that The View was talking about this, and I made a point the other day that it's a bunch of horny old women that were mainly talking about and interested in fucking an alien. Yeah. But that aside, it's getting out to mainstream.
Yeah.
That's so true, though.
Edwin, let's get to you, then we'll get back to the video.
Well, we know that we're going to see pushback. And I don't know what Avi Loeb's role is. He's been out there on TV almost every day for several years now. But when it gets to the point like this, where so many people are talking about it, it's all over the place. But we know that they're going to come out with these figureheads in an attempt to squash the conversation, to manipulate the public, to try and convince people there's nothing to see here. It's going to happen. He's not the only one. There's going to be more. They don't want us. They're concerned about so many people talking about this that there's going to be pushback, such as Avi Loeb. I mean, I don't know what his role is or why what he thinks he's trying to do, because I really don't think people are going to buy into it.
He's acting like he's a stooge for the intelligence communities.
Yeah, and the public is not stupid. They think the public is stupid, and there are a lot of people that watch Avi Loeb and say, oh, Avi Loeb says it's Chinese drones, there's nothing to see here, move along. But I think the majority of the public is just not going to buy into what Avi Loeb is trying to sell.
Time for a poll?
You never know.
Poll question?
We can. I'd like to get this video done first.
All right.
All right, here we go, everybody.
Just to stay with you for a second, how does this fit into the disclosures we've seen so far? And I think I'm just going to keep using the word disclosure because I like it, and also it's Disclosure Day. But how does this fit into the overall disclosures, the file dumps that we've seen? And I got to tell you, I'm actually impressed by the level of transparency by what we're seeing in these documents and these videos. But where do you see it?
I'm impressed too. It's a step in the right direction. With some of our prior conversations, we have talked about how there wasn't analysis that came along with some of these releases. Dr. Loeb made a great point about there was a memo included in this release from Dr. Kozlowski, the director of AARO, that actually provided analysis. So that feedback is being heard and apparently satisfied. Dr. Loeb issued a write-up, which I thought was great, from his website. And then we have the members of Congress having a press conference today that you showed pictures from. I was at that press conference. I was standing behind David Grush and Representatives Burchett and Luna. And I tell you what, they are absolutely pushing for greater transparency. And as Sarah said, we haven't seen the last of it. There is significantly more data to be released. And a lot of things that could be released are things that the task force worked on.
Sarah, let me go back to you for a second. How well does the government run? How much are they investigating this? I talk about the files being obtained from CIA, FBI, DOD. What do you think is going on behind the scenes in terms of an investigation to find out what this is?
Yeah, I can validate for certainty that there's a lot of research that goes on behind the scenes. So when I was on the task force...
Oh, talking about going on behind the scenes, we've got a picture here really quick. An inspiring visit of Congressman Anna Luna back on April 17th, 2026, hanging out with Avi Loeb in the observatory. Gee, I wonder what they were talking about.
They look so cute together.
Yeah, they're about to be the same height.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. 4'11".
We would do anything and everything. We would reach out to the drone operators, like if it was an MQ-9, to get what the emotions were like there whenever they first saw it, how hard it was to reacquire, investigate weather data. I mean, you name it. We would research bird migration patterns over whatever spot it was in the world. So there is a lot of research that does go on behind the scenes. And I know a lot of people don't always agree with how AARO operates, but I can say that there's some really good analysts that are working under AARO right now, and they are doing, I'd say, be above and beyond what the task force did, because that's their full-time job. Like when I was on the task force, I supported it from NGA, so I wasn't on the official senior level panel, but there was it was volunteer basis. So these people are, that this is their full-time job, and so they take it very seriously. And I give them kudos for what they're still doing now for the research that goes on.
Avi, you get the final word. We have about 45 seconds. What do you make of that Starbase audio?
Oh, I think we can pretty much ignore that because it was a side comment that is not indicative of something real. We actually, Artemis 2 flew over the far side of the moon, and there wasn't anything unusual over there. So I think most importantly, if you are down to earth in your thinking and you're trying to be as realistic as possible, and that's what the intelligence agencies are supposed to do, you have to be intrigued by this because you're not doing your job. There are objects over sensitive sites within the U.S. that are potential threats to national security. We have to figure it out. There needs to be more funds allocated to the research. And, at the end of the day, if it's human-made, we have to protect the U.S. against that.
And I hope it's the proper funding. But look, with the more interest in this, that's probably what you might see. Avi Loeb, Jordan Flower, Sarah Gam, thank you so much for coming on. Really, really appreciate it.
Yeah. Denier-in-chief. What a great addition to the federal government to go ahead and bring out the truth.
I mean, what's it gonna? It doesn't really. It's just it's just a blue ribbon committee. I don't really see anything happening with this. I mean, Trump is the ultimate person to release whatever needs to be released. This is just throwing a dog a bone. That's it.
Yeah.
It's a money grab for Avi, in my opinion.
Absolutely right. That's what he said at the end, right, sir? He said we need the funds. That's what I heard at the end.
He wants his billions of dollars to look for his Oumuamua and other interstellar objects.
If I were Avi,
but he's not
honestly,
getting the money for
on
that. He has to go ahead and investigate the shit that's here, not the stuff that's so fucking far out there that it's beyond the reach of our planet.
I can see him if he was asking for an international committee of scientists to come together in the United States to do the exact same thing, and the money was going to be specifically used for that, and they were itemizing it and showing us that's a different story. But just going on News Nation saying we need money, and it's going to be a bunch of us scientists, and it seems weird. Seems like a money grab.
Little post from Skywatch Signal, who's actually not in the audience right now from X. It's a post about Cuomo saying, I'm starving for transparency, how UFOs went from joke to mainstream. We got a short clip here from Jeremy Corbell, is the man who has been out there threatening to go ahead and saying, I've got all the files. It shows all this stuff. If you don't give us the information, I'm going to release this stuff. And it's been released to a bunch of other reporters as a dead man switch. So let's see what Jeremy has to say.
Brother, let me introduce you to my world, okay? One, I'm starving, okay? I'll take crumbs because I am starving for transparency, okay? And when I first started talking to Jeremy, you would have thought the high priests in the media thought that I was interviewing someone who says they're Jesus. Like, that's where we started with UAP transparency and making it a mainstream news story, which it now is. Everybody covers it now. The amount of progress that has been made on this subject eclipses any other one that we take in terms of the organic growth of legitimacy of the subject. I mean, Jeremy, I think it's a pretty fair assessment. I know Mike's right. There's still so much we don't know. There's still way more that we don't know than we do know, and that they know and won't tell us. 100%, I agree. But from where we started?
Yeah, but don't get complacent. This fight's been going on a long time before mainstream media has picked this up. This is a time of opportunity. I just watched Disclosure Day, the film, and if you watch that, it's funny, like art imitates life for sure. I mean, they did call me a number of times, so art does imitate life. But also life could imitate art. And what we see is the acclimation of the human population to these bigger concepts, that we're not alone. And in the movie, as you see Disclosure Day itself, without ruining it for people, it's very similar to what's been going on. So I feel like if we keep pushing, because I know for a fact that we have evidence of reverse engineering. We have evidence of bodies, biologics. So you are being held that information back, and it's not right. And, come hell or high water one way, it's going to get out. So it's just a matter of if our government gets in front of it, the onus is now on them.
Dusty just asked me to ask, what is an orb exactly?
It's a great question. We can describe it through its characteristics, and it's been highly documented scientifically by our own government. So we know frequencies that they work at. We know the effects on the human body, on cattle. We know they've been around since the beginning of the UFO phenomenon. What are they exactly? Who knows? They could be scouts or something like that. I just really don't have full answers to that.
Interesting little thing from Jeremy. Andy, you have your hand up, my friend, about this clip. Go ahead.
Yeah, basically, they're talking about this coming out in, it's more widely available to the public. We were talking on last night's show about The View. I've seen it here in the UK on non-mainstream news things, but they talk about it openly. There's no X-Files music being played in the background. It's actually talked about as a genuine subject now. We are so far removed from even, I would say, 2 years ago.
Think about what it was like 10 years ago, 20 years ago.
Yeah,
this was never, ever discussed.
Yeah, but even 2 years ago, it would have been, they would have had the X-Files music on.
You're probably talking about, the last time I heard the X-Files music being played was some of the stories, right when I started the channel. that there was some stuff out there where they were still playing, and that's like 21 or so. So it's been, it's been, at least for me, since the last time I've heard the X-Files music in a news broadcast, it's been about a good 5+ years.
So, okay, it's been 5 years, but you see every time, even on The View, as much as, you deride these people, and I don't have I have no skin in the game because it's an American series, American show. But, they can talk about, yes, they throw the old joke in, and that's what these people do. But I'd rather have people sort of joking with the subject, not at the subject. It makes people feel a lot less uncomfortable, a lot more, less uncomfortable about.
And at least we're not getting the same fucking videos again and again of the gimbal and the go fast. Because that's all they've been showing in their B-roll as the conversation's going on. They've actually started updating their feeds, which is, it's about time.
Yeah, we're infinitely further along than we ever were. And I do believe that we're gonna, every drop, of documents, people aren't happy. We're never gonna be happy. I'm totally pro, catastrophic disclosure. No matter what that happens, I think, as we were talking a little bit before the show kicked off, and you'll get some people who'll throw themselves off of the roofs of buildings or whatever have you. It happens, but I think the vast majority of people are going to be, okay, all right, we're not alone. Okay, I've got a bill to pay tomorrow, so I'm off back to work. I really don't think that it's going to, dent the human psyche massively.
So Skywatch Signal in the chat says, what is catastrophic? Now, nothing we've given so far is catastrophic. What we're talking is if the government's going to keep on stringing us along in the details, then bring in all the details, dump it to us, and screw government, screw religion, screw science and everybody else. Let us all have to deal with the truth for once rather than living in a fake hologram. Because reality is, yes, we're not in a hologram potentially, but we are in a world where the things we believe are true are not even close to the truth. That's the reality, I think, that sometimes, this town needs an enema. We need that kind of a...
Jack Nicholson's Joker, you're absolutely right,
blow up the fucking hospital. Whatever they need to do. You remember that, the Joker doing that.
Oh, yeah. That's absolutely right. And catastrophic disclosure is somebody actually wheeling a craft out or a body or both. That's indisputable.
How about all the craft that are cloaked? They turn off all their cloaking and everybody sees everything that's going around everywhere. That's what we kind of need.
Well, we heard that is a possibility of happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see. You're right.
You need that awakening that happens like sometimes if you're going to see a Batman movie and someone takes a whole bunch of boxes of rats and lets them go in the theater midstream. People start feeling something fuzzy or things in their popcorn bags and they didn't realize it's not them.
Right.
You guys are all making really, really good points today.
Thank you.
Especially Andy also. You make good points, Andy. I'm sitting here listening and you guys are just right on the money.
We've been doing this for years.
Sleep last night.
It's not just today, it's all the time. But thank you.
Right.
Thank you, Edwin. Thank you, Kyle. All right, I got another clip here. We got Leslie Keene. You remember Leslie Keene? She was one of the reporters who broke Lou Elizondo's story.
She did back in 2017 with Ralph Blumenthal.
Let's see if we can get something sane out of this woman. I think we may. Where is this at? I want to go ahead and here. All right, not that one. Here we go. Play it.
It is among one of the biggest questions ever posed by humanity. Are we alone in the universe? Well, we may be getting closer to an answer. Lawmakers from the House Task Force on the Declassification of Federal Secrets demanded more transparency from the government on unidentified anomalous phenomena and immunity for whistleblowers amid claims of billions of dollars being spent annually on secret UAP programs. So what new nuggets of information are fueling this push for full transparency? Let's ask someone who was at that news conference on Capitol Hill, independent investigative journalist and New York Times bestselling author of UFOs, Generals, Pilots, and Government Officials Go on the Record, Leslie Kean. Leslie has been following this story for many, many years. Leslie, former Air Force intelligence officer and UAP whistleblower David Grush gave the intel community an earful at that presser this week. Watch this.
For decades, unknown objects have freely operated in restricted airspace in large metropolitan areas and critical infrastructure, and the agencies responsible for securing the homeland cannot adequately defend against it. Many of the president's team has been kept in the dark by high-ego, politically appointed actors, both because of incompetence and malicious intent, has subverted the president's order on this issue.
Leslie, you broke David's story back in 2023. Do you think the president knows the truth, or other presidents have known the truth, and it's just being kept from them by what we call the deep state?
I mean, that's a great question. It depends, of course, on what you consider to be the truth, you know, or what you're actually referring to. But I do know that presidents have been briefed on this, including President Trump. I don't know to what extent he's been given, you know, absolutely every bit of information that would give him the full picture, but I know he's had some kind of briefing on it. And he's also been very committed to making, you know, getting more transparency by releasing these troves, these documents that he's been doing. So he's committed to providing more information to the public, that's for sure.
Here's one of the most stunning claims from David Grush after a reporter asked him what the U.S. government knows about the types of alien life it has encountered.
I certainly don't have the compendium. It's a continuum from corporeal bipedal type life to, you know, what I would consider like sentient plasmoid life. But there are several that the U.S. government is aware of.
Leslie, so much more has been coming out recently. What else are the whistleblowers saying about, at least from their perspective, what we actually know?
I mean, in general, Tom, they tend to confirm what David Grush said, you know, in 2023. He was the first one to come forward. And a big issue for them is this crash retrieval program. The fact that there is a legacy program that's been in existence for decades and that they apparently have retrieved alien technology or technology that's not made by humans. And associated with that, there are biological, you know, remains or bits thereof that have also been retrieved. And this is something that many, many others have talked about besides David Grush, some of them off the record to members of Congress, some of them publicly under oath before Congress. But I think that's one of the key points that they're making. You know, if there is hard evidence for the fact or the possible fact that we are not alone, they want to provide this evidence to the American people. Mm-hmm. And it's deeply classified. So there's a battle to try to release some of it and get the declassification, you know, restrictions removed so that the public can know more.
Now, Leslie, proponents for UAP transparency argue the existence of extraterrestrial life could, I mean, in sort of like a Star Trek sort of way, could unite humanity, could be a very positive thing for humanity. Critics, however, say that some of these revelations could be devastating to societal structures and belief systems and present even national security risks. How do you square that circle? Because there are credible arguments to be made that we should know this information, but there are also credible arguments that maybe humanity isn't quite ready to process all of this.
I mean, that's a great question, Tom. And as you said, the arguments go from the full gamut, from the let's keep all of it out of the public, let's tell them everything. And then there's more of a middle path. And I think that if we do know that we are not alone in the universe, that's a matter of science. It's not a political secret that should be held from the members of our civilization, right? I mean, but on the other hand, I think it's how you go about releasing that and what evidence you provide. And that's why I'm thinking that focus on the biological evidence is really the way to go, because we have to protect the technology. We cannot let our adversaries get access to that technology. But biology is a whole different matter. It's not a national security issue. And fundamentally, regardless of whatever kind of shocks might come from this, I believe that the people on this planet have a right to know if it has been scientifically discovered that we are not alone.
Leslie, exit question for you very, very quickly. You've seen so much of this data. What is the most, let's put a button on it, what's the most compelling evidence that you've seen so far?
I would say the combination of, first of all, there's hundreds of government documents that have been released through the Freedom of Information Act in the 70s. If you just look at those, it's clear that we're dealing with something unexplained and very remarkable. The fact that it's gone back all the way to the 50s and 40s, the descriptions have not changed of what people are seeing.
Yeah.
Very credible people. So, we didn't have, human beings were not able to create this kind of technology in the 50s and 60s. I don't think anyone can argue with that. So the consistency is very important, and the high level of witnesses and whistleblowers who are talking about it and bringing us information, all of that. And I've been looking at it for a long time. So.
Investigative journalist Leslie Kean, thank you so much. It does seem like you're making some progress. Please keep us up to date, okay?
Thank you so much for having me, Tom.
Thanks for having me. Oh, where are we at? Let's get back into here. Yeah, we got more stuff coming up. So it's nice to hear Leslie Kean. At least this conversation, was a little bit more grounded than the other ones we've heard today.
Well, it was based on the work and experience that she's done on this subject.
Yeah.
So we're not getting, the usual disinformation and bullshit out of Avi Loeb and Arrow.
And everybody else. Yeah,
it's nice.
Yeah. But, apparently, though, whistleblowers are the ones who are really going to have the chance to really tell their stories to go along with the data and potentially force from data coming out. But we know it's against them. In this clip from Jeremy Corbell that came out on X was short a time ago, he talks about the importance of supporting whistleblowers and giving them the protections they need to go ahead and bring out the truth. Let's go ahead and bring this up, and let's see what Jeremy has to say. Here we go, folks.
So people ask me all the time, what can they do to help? What can they do to help whistleblowers? What can they do to help this fight for UAP transparency? And, there's a variety of answers to that. But I know one thing that you can do right now, which is just share this article. This is good journalism. They went deep. This is what these whistleblowers need, is for you to share their story. It's as simple as that. What you can do right now is you can just share this article with your family and your friends. You can post it online. Just help people to find it and read it, and that's going to make a huge difference. Everybody is always asking what to do. Well, here's one thing. And if you do this, thank you. Thank you for them. Thank you for me. Thank you for the writers and people doing real journalism on this subject. All right, that's it. Hope you're having a good weekend.
Thank you, Jeremy. It's always great to hear Jeremy in his server room. You can hear all those fans. Either that, air conditioning, or something was going on. But yes, the truth is, if we want to get this to go forward, we do have to get a bunch of whistleblowers who are in these independent corporations that are in the three-letter agencies like the Department of Energy to be able to come out and talk about this stuff without getting, literally thrown under the bus. Right, Mike?
Well, yeah. And let me be clear. No, Muscle Mary makes a point.
This guy's always eating, I swear.
Well, that's okay. But look, he is making points about whistleblowers, but without increased whistleblower protection coming from the government, these people, like we talked about last night on the show, they're not going to come forward because they're not protected. And it isn't just them, it's their families they have to worry about. Now, everybody likes to say there's been no proof, no evidence. I can say that the claims that David Grush has made, and we know when he was at the press conference, he talked about how after he testified to Congress under oath that the U.S. Air Force tried to have him prosecuted under the Espionage Act for testifying. Not only that, because he testified under oath, that if he lied in his testimony, forget DOPSA, we're not talking about that. Just him testifying under oath in Congress. If he lied about any of the claims that he made, they would have prosecuted him and...
Keep on going, Mike. Keep on going, Mike. Sorry.
Thrown his hat. And also the fact that, as far as David Grush, the government has not been able to disprove any of the claims that he's publicly made about what they're hiding.
Yeah.
They didn't disprove it. They didn't prosecute him. So that tells me, and it should tell everybody else, that everything that he's putting out there, as crazy as some of it may sound, is correct. He's not lying. He's telling the truth.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry to disturb you with the poll music, Mike, but as they came on, we had someone in the chat saying about whether people say, trust me, trust me, trust me about Jeremy Corbell. We actually started a survey. And so far, we had the three options of I trust him, I don't trust him, or I need more time. If you look at the numbers with just 42 votes in, hey, Google, set a timer for 1 minute and 30 seconds.
Okay, 1 minute. Starting now.
All right. And then for all your friends who have Google out there, you have got a timer going as well. So, where's us audience going to go? 41% of our audience is saying I trust him. 28% of the audience, I don't trust him. 31% of the audience says I need more time and information. Mike, how would you vote on this one?
I already voted. I voted I don't trust him. And that's because you and I know how he and Knapp have been dealing with this subject for years now, and when we're not happy about it. If he has information, bring it the fuck out instead of sitting on it like the government does for years. That's not journalism, even though he claims to be one.
You mean if you have all this information and you're an investigative journalist, bring forward the information you have and share it with everybody?
Yeah, don't make it a pay-per-view event and try to get paid from the audience for it.
I mean,
just
is that
put it out.
the argument to say that he's a part of the Avi Loeb camp of the IC community being fed information, but out there to be like a public?
He's not anywhere tied close to Avi Loeb as well. No, completely different story. No,
So
he's got the
motivation for
information. He's
him?
got the information, but he's sitting on it. Is it part of being careful, or is it part of a media plan? That almost sounds like.
Or is it just he just wants the money? Is it a cash grab, cash cow?
Hey, listen, do you know his background? He is a promoter, not a journalist. Okay.
I thought he worked on like real estate or something.
His day job is real estate sales. Yes. So he is somebody who likes to promote and get paid for the work that he does. And that's where he's coming from. And Thomas and I are well aware of that. And we criticize him for it because if he wants to have the role with the public of a journalist and he has access to this information, which we know he does, why does he sit on it and only release it when he turns it into a documentary and gets paid for it? It's a shitty approach.
I do agree with that.
That's where Thomas and I are coming from.
He says that he's got the best intentions and he's doing this for everybody here on the planet, but then it doesn't show, and we're waiting for season 27 for him to drop something. I don't want to wait for season 27.
Well, he wants to get paid.
Yeah.
That's it. He wants to just have people, pay him for the material that he can put out there. And that new documentary, as they came out, we covered it here on the show. Those video clips that he got from military personnel that gave it to him secretly, what did we see? 5-second clips that he put together in that? And that was it. That wasn't very revealing as far as we were concerned either. So either it's all hype for what he's trying to promote and put out there, or, he's just in it for the wrong reasons to get paid.
I agree with you.
All right.
So what's the poll say?
We're just about to do it. Here we go. Our next poll for Jeremy Corbell coming in next. Let's put this one down here. Keep Jeremy up. Our next poll coming up. Okay, Jeremy sits on UFO evidence because it's a media plan to prevent catastrophic disclosure, or it's a drip money grab, meaning it's a drip along kind of a thing.
Yeah, I'll go with that one. It's a good choice. Yeah,
okay,
that's
Google,
what I voted.
Set a timer for 1 minute and 30 seconds.
1 minute.
Now. All right. There we go, folks. There's the music you all love to hate and hate to love. It signifies, yes, we've got a survey going on here. Let's see where we've got. Okay. Look at this. Oh, my God. Mike, the audience has been listening to you.
It sounds like they have. Yeah, good for them.
It's a media plan, meaning I only have so much stuff, and I need the time to bring it out, right? Or I don't want to bring it all at once because people are going to freak out. It's going to be catastrophic disclosure. Or it's a drip money grab, meaning I'm going to keep on dropping this stuff a little bit along the way so I can make some money off of this. I'm a real estate agent. It's like selling a house.
Yeah.
Nothing against any three of those.
Yeah. That's absolutely right.
Yeah. So, okay, so we got 32 seconds left, only 66 votes in. We know half the audience can't vote because they got a television set. But how many people do we got watching right now? We have 334 people watching. You know what? If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. We have a double your money back guarantee if you don't like the subscriptions. And more importantly, give us a thumbs up if you're hanging out, having a fun time on Saturday, enjoying drinking to national security, my friends. 6 seconds left. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Look at those numbers. Okay, Google, stop. Turn off everyone's timer for them. Did that work, Daryl?
Yeah, you stop living room TV. That's what it just did. Anyway, I just have to throw this out there because this is the back of my mind, because I've heard Jeremy say this before, is that he has a lot of evidence that he can't release because the people that have given it to him haven't given him the okay to release it. In other words, some people want to get shit off their chest, but they don't necessarily say, yeah, you can go ahead and use this. So I'm just saying, I don't know if I'm standing up for Jeremy here, but at least that's what I've heard him say.
Yeah, but if you got the information and you're the actual reporter, it's already in your possession, technically speaking.
Well, it's like protecting, what do you call it? Protecting witnesses, or not what am I thinking of? Protecting your sources, I guess. You don't want to burn your sources. I mean, if somebody gives you something, if I give you something, I say, please don't release it, but I want you to take a look at this. This is what's going on in my life. I wouldn't expect you to go run and tell somebody about it.
But this isn't just telling. This, like, physical evidence has been given to him.
Yeah, I still think. I guess I'm standing up for him now at this point.
That's fine.
I think that some people may give you something. I mean, I've had people confide in me with different things, and I wouldn't necessarily go release it on.
But we can look at the survey, though. 43% of the audience trusts what he brings forward and trusts him, but 54% of the audience also thinks it's a monetization plan for the guy, which is fine. If that's what it is, that's what it is.
It definitely can appear that way, but I think it could also be another thing. You want
to do one more survey to help Jeremy?
No, I think people are. How many people voted in this last one?
68 in the second one, 80 in the first.
Yeah, we're losing voters. Nobody wants to go to the poll.
No, you know what it's called? It's called voter apathy, Daryl.
Voter fatigue.
See, we can other fatigues we're dealing
we can look
with.
at it in two different ways.
Could be looking at it anyway. So I don't.
All I have to say is it's a good Saturday when Disclosure Tonight's involved, and also national security.
We got that one. Well, we got another one. All right, we've got another video. This one's coming from Hannity with Fat Chandler as the host. I think that's what we call him, right, Luke? Fat Chandler. You'll see what I'm talking about. Again, what people are hearing, where it's in the news, people are discussing it. So let's hear what Fat Chandler has to say over on Hannity.
Welcome back to this special edition of Hannity. The Department of War has now...
Fat Chandler, right? Exactly.
Published its third batch of UFO files, including documents and videos tied to eyewitness footage of strange encounters from over the years, such as mysterious orb sightings. And now, U.S. officials may be closer to cracking at least part of the UFO mystery after locating the site of recurring glowing orbs. Here now with reaction, UAP whistleblower and former director of the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, Lou Elizondo, along with Congressman Tim Burchett. Thank you both for joining us. Let me start with you, Lou. What
was that, Daryl?
What is Bono doing in UFO news? Why doesn't he just stick to music? Oh, that's Lou. Never mind.
Yes.
I thought it was Bono from U2.
No,
Sorry.
then we got Bono and Fat Chandler, and then we got Tim Burchett. Yeah, there you go.
Through these new files that have just released, probably some of them were already somewhat familiar to you. Tell us what's new that's come out.
Well, first of all, you have the FBI reports coming out where very recently they were conducting an investigation where FBI, by the way, seasoned FBI agents, I know who they are, actually witnessed these glowing orbs. And by the way, it wasn't only limited just to FBI agents. About 2 weeks ago, the second tranche of files was released by the White House and the Department of War. And you had a senior official in the Director of National Intelligence who was actually sent, now listen to this, sent to go investigate some orbs that were witnessed around a sensitive military installation. And it turns out that even during his helicopter trip, he himself and the pilot witnessed these orbs, in some cases 20 feet away from the helicopter. And by the way, let me say this. We would not be having this discussion today if it wasn't for the guest that you have right next to you right now, Congressman Tim Burchett and his colleagues. They're on the task force for transparency. So we really owe a lot of this to the gentleman that's also sharing the screen.
Well, Congressman, I am very grateful to you for this, but I have to ask you first off, what is it about the federal government that they are so afraid of transparency when it comes to this issue?
It could be a lot of reasons. I think one of them is just arrogance. The Bible says, professing themselves to be wise, they became fools, and every one of them thinks they're the greatest thing in the world. I sit in a secure briefing with some little punk with a man bun telling me that the president's on a need-to-know basis. Imagine that. An unelected bureaucrat is sitting there telling military officials, these guys were high-ranking people that were right beside him, and members of Congress, that the president is on a need-to-know basis, and he was the gatekeeper. And another, just imagine if you had this energy source that these things are possibly capable of. These things are hovering for hours on end. They shoot up straight up at speeds that we can't even fathom. Just imagine if we could heat our homes in the winter and cool them in the summer. We'd put the war pimps at the Pentagon out of business. We wouldn't be fighting all these wars over oil. And thank goodness we have President Trump in the White House who kept his word to me and kept his word on this issue and said, you know, he told me, he said, Tim, I'm going to release him for whatever, good or bad. And he did it. He kept his word, and because he is not beholden to that bunch, and he stands on his own. So I appreciate him.
Yeah. Lou, you mentioned a minute ago about the FBI agents who out in the field who witnessed some of these things. I've always been struck by how many of the witness accounts are by people like that, and especially military pilots. The people that I would trust to do anything in the world, reporting some of this stuff.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Look, you have trained observers. These are individuals who are highly trained. They're trusted and have security clearances. They're trusted to fly live munitions over populated U.S. cities. And then when they report that they're seeing something, it's crickets, right? Nobody wants to take it seriously. And you also have law enforcement officials as well who are trained investigators that are also witnessing these things, trained intelligence officers. And frankly, at this point, it's become kind of the worst kept secret right now in U.S. history.
Congressman, it's not for a lack of trying, though. The federal government has done so much to vilify people, mock and ridicule people who ask questions about this. The effort to cover it up is kind of it's breathtaking when you look back over the years. Are you confident right now that this info, like this latest tranche that has come out of the Department of War is at least getting in the right direction to revealing what we know?
It is, but they're still hiding it. I've spoke with highest levels at the White House have told me that you have people within these agencies that are hiding this. The trouble with this deal is on the FBI it was a person, and I won't tell everything I know about it because I haven't been released, but since the pictures have been released, this was a guy that had done some work for the federal government, and I'll just leave it at that. And these were 2 FBI agents who came to that site and actually witnessed this. So this was a different situation. This wasn't a bunch of rednecks like Tim Burchett out in the woods somewhere, drunk, seeing some lights. This was the real deal, and they have evidence there and footage. And thank goodness for people like Lou Elizondo had the guts to stand up to the federal government and take a dadgum stand, because we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Lou.
Yes, indeed. Well, you're both patriots, and we're very, very, on behalf of the American people, we're very grateful to you both for the work you've done. Thank you both. Okay.
You know, I got to say this. What Tim Burchett just said really, really ties it down. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Lou at this point in time. I think that completely just really says exactly where we're at right now, and that's the truth. And there's a lot of people who don't agree with Lou, and he's got a lot of haters out there and such. But Daryl, Mike, anyone in the back, this is something that we wouldn't be here if Lou didn't come out and step out of the shadows in 2017 and reopen the conversation.
No, you're right. No, go ahead, Darryl. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say, you're right. Him in concert with Chris Mellon. Yeah. They're the fathers of modern day disclosure, I'd guess.
Yeah. Oh, you mean Disclosure's got 2 daddies?
At least 2.
Yeah, no mommies. There you go. The mommy would actually, that would be Oumuamua, not Oumuamua.
Luna could be my mommy. That's okay.
No, it'd probably be Jennifer.
What did you say, Jennifer?
Lou's wife.
Oh.
Jennifer Elizondo.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, if I had to breastfeed, I mean, if I had to,
Yep. We got it. Good point, Daryl. I'm with you. I have a feeling
people
Luna,
don't recognize
though,
her for what she's done behind the scenes to support that man.
Oh, incredible. Yeah. Read his book and you'll see exactly how much she had to deal with. It was a lot. Yeah.
Oh, gosh, yes.
I mean, that says a lot for anybody who's in this community, though, and has a significant other that sticks by them. If you stick by your significant other and they're a big part in this community, there's more power to you, and especially Lou's family for putting up with all that. That's a lot, man. I was in the military, 2 branches, and it was hard for my family to stick by me in 2 branches. I'm not even just dealing with the fucking UFO shit. So it's a lot, man. I think it's a lot for families.
Well. What do we have here? Let's take a look. A post on X from Skywatch Signal. Who's in the chat right now? Trump taps Avi Loeb to lead UAP Advisory Council. Roswell included in UAP files. UFO news update. Live right now, Thomas Fessler. Come have your say about the latest news about UAP Council headed up by Avi Loeb money grab. Come join the live. Thank you, Skywatch. And hey, look, we got a picture of us up there, Mike. How about that? Actually,
nice.
Timmy's on there. How did Tim get on there? He's not talked.
Thank you for doing that, Skywatch Signal. Yeah, I followed his account on X with my account, and he followed me back. So, he does good work.
At least he didn't put the quote up there about what was saying, and I said, oh, cute couple.
Right. There you go.
Very cute.
Oh, God, yeah. Yes, there we go. No, not that one. We're not bringing Lou in here. Wait, not that one. God damn it. Wrong one. Here we go. Let's get to it. See what else is going on. Any other news out there? Well, shit. All right. This is a long one. We'll play a clip of it. We can't get too far into this because it's 14 minutes long from a podcast, but we've got Dr. Kevin Knuth, who's the big scientist who literally dwarfs Matthew Sudeikis, but they're like, the Wonder Twins.
They are.
Kevin Knuth on Real UAP. Let's get this up here. Not that one. No. There we go. All right, let's get to this one. Kevin Knuth on Real UAP Tech, 5,000 to 10,000 G's in acceleration. 250,000 miles an hour speeds, power output rivaling the entire U.S. nuclear plants, all in fighter jet size objects. Some of these have to be non-human. Performance plus 100 years of sightings makes it impossible to be purely man-made. And why did they not bring Kevin Knuth into this panel? Because he doesn't believe in the truth. He has the facts for the truth.
Well, anybody that spent 3 hours in a private meeting with him and Dr. Sedegas, like you and I have, would get their mind exploded from just the sheer amount of knowledge that they possess on this subject.
Oh, and by the way, someone did say national security, and Daryl's on it. I already got my refill during the last video.
Perfect.
If people don't realize, that's the only chance I can really get to step away from the camera for a second. It was during the videos. All right, here we go.
So from a scientific standpoint, like let's just go down the path of what do you think, you're going to be able to solve. So let's say that the videos are real in a lot of cases, or at least let's just say that.
No, sorry, I'm in the wrong fucking goddamn it. Hold on. The audience can hear the shit, but you guys can't.
How do you feel about that shirt, Corporal Abe?
I'm in the wrong browser.
Hey, I'm a fan of shirts. That's a very nice. That's a nice.
I like it.
I don't think it would. I don't know. It's all right. Yeah, I guess.
We're back. Where is Sweaty Nerd today? He's usually here at every show. We missed him.
He probably was very tired from last night's show because we went very long last night.
Did you guys?
No, the show itself. We started early, if you remember.
Yeah, we went for 4 hours.
I think he was late into the back chat too.
Oh, he was. Yeah.
He could be having a barbecue today, so.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to this. Here we go.
So from a scientific standpoint, like let's just go down the path of what do you think, you're going to be able to solve. So let's say that the videos are real in a lot of cases, or at least let's just say that the craft have the capability to do these incredible things, 90-degree turns going 250,000 miles per hour, acceleration up to 50,000 Gs. Like, doesn't that at some point get to the point where, okay, this is not acceleration through space as we know it. This is the warping of space-time, and this craft is moving.
Those are the things that we could learn about. Yeah. We could get some idea of what they're doing, and if there's new physics to be learned, maybe get some handle on it. So if it's some kind of warp drive going on, and we end up being able to, how can we better detect how can we better figure out whether this is a warp drive or whether these are something else, and that's what I would hope, that we'd be able to figure out things like that.
Yeah,
just to get I think to get a picture of what's going on, we could probably do it in about 10 years. To figure out details, you probably would require the craft themselves,
right.
But then you've got to actually figure out what alien tech actually is doing, which I think is probably really, really, it's just going to be too hard. I don't have a lot of faith that a lot's been re-engineered at this point.
Okay, before we get to that, I mean, the intent.
So that's a big one. Kevin Knuth doesn't believe that any of this stuff has been re-engineered at this point.
And that's because Dr. Eric Davis has spoken publicly on many different accounts and stated that the big issue, the obstacle, is material science. We can't recreate a lot of the material that the UAP craft use.
You want to know why? Because when they lay down the materials on an atomic layer, 1 atom thickness, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when they put it one layer on top of the other, it separates and delaminates.
Right.
If you were to do the same thing in zero gravity, there's an effect called like cold welding or whatever it is, which basically bonds the different sheets together. That's why they say we can't create this stuff on Earth because of gravity, and it has to be created in 0G because based on our techniques, we can't get the shit to stick together, which, you know what that means? They've been experimenting with this stuff in space. Remember, oh God, there's a 3D printing company out there that's I always look at for their stuff, and they've got like the best 3D printers. They'd have to have some of that stuff up on the space station, I tell you.
Well, we also know that the U.S. government discovered that a lot of this material was itself manufactured in space, in zero gravity.
Exactly.
But they haven't shared that with the public.
No.
Right.
Who do you blame for Kevin Knuth not wearing coordinating colors? Do you blame Kevin, or do you blame Meatball here?
Science.
Yeah.
Maybe he doesn't have a significant other. If he does, the significant other doesn't care.
No, I think he should tell him to wear a specific color palette. So you can see how he blends into his own motif. Come on. He took the time. He should tell his guest, hey, look.
Come on, I've got a programmer at work, and he wears a shirt. It's the exact same pattern as the chair that he sits in. So when he sits into it, he disappears.
He's cloaked.
My grandmother did the same thing. Yeah.
Funny.
Part of it. So you can figure out the basic physics of it, but why is it happening? What are their intentions? I don't know that we ever get to that unless we have a sit-down conversation with an actual extraterrestrial. That's a crazy thing to say, but
yeah, it's probably true. You can try to infer intentions, but it's going to be hard because you're always inferring them through your lens, and our lenses are really warped.
Right. Like, who are you? What are you doing here? You can't get that. Like, what is your intention?
Yeah.
What are you? What? You don't get any of that information by studying videos. No matter how much you know about the video or the craft or the image that you see on the video, you kind of have to go to the source.
We know a lot about our adversaries, our human adversaries, and we still don't know their intent. So, yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah. So that's going to be interesting to, hopefully at some point as we do kind of learn more about the technology and the craft themselves and, how that actually works, then to want to take that next step of actual content.
Trey Yank. No, who's the guy who's, Trey Gowdy. Yeah. Reminds me of Trey Gowdy's hairdo.
There's so many things. What's up with the high chairs?
Instagram's a little bitch, yeah.
Why? Okay, before I knock it off, why are these guys on high chairs? What is going on?
Because they're
with this
both not that
studio?
tall, and their legs don't fit to the ground.
No, the chairs are elevated. They have extra height under them for some reason. They're both on pillows on their feet. When you back, look.
No, that's a regular size height chair.
No, those two guys would look like Muppets or something if that were the case.
It's part of the scene, maybe, so it makes his hair look taller. I don't know.
They're resting their feet on pillows. I mean,
yeah, a little. It's not like ottomans.
It's weird. It's like that Lily Tomlin and Laughing in the giant rocking chair.
Yeah, but he likes the illuminated salt, so it must give him something. He has little salt pyramids too. No one paid attention to that. But his hair does not match the sign. He has to give more due.
That's supposed to ionize the air, I believe. That's Himalayan salt, right?
Yeah.
Kind of learn more about the technology and the craft themselves and, how that actually works, then to want to take that next step of actual contact, I think is going to be a critical component of just the overall awakening and just understanding of reality and what's happening around us and what these things are doing. What is the phenomenon? What is it all about? Is it what are we? What's the intent? What's life? What are they doing with us?
And Mario, he's a plumber, but why doesn't he have a tool belt or a wrench?
What have they done with
Go
ahead.
I don't agree with the host and with what he's saying about we have no way of being able to determine what their intentions are or our foreign adversaries by simply watching their behavior.
But if you take all the videos and you put them in a pile and you start sorting it out, you're going to get a whole bunch of different piles. And in those piles, you're going to start seeing an intent. You're going to start seeing patterns that go on. If you look at them individually, you're like, what the hell are these things doing? But if you look at the volume of all the tens of millions of documents we have, you'll get an idea.
You will, and that's what we apply to when we analyze the foreign adversaries of this country.
Yeah.
We use the same technique and process. It works the same for everything. Doesn't matter what the source or origin is of that civilization. If you have access to these videos and their movement, you can get a pretty good idea of what it is that they're up to. I'll give you an example. We know that there was a first crash retrieval that occurred back in 1933 in Magenta, Italy, according to David Grush. We know that the Vatican had then transferred the craft and materials at the end of the Second World War to the United States. We know that in July of 1952, after the Roswell crash in 47, that these objects specifically were buzzing the White House for 2 weekends in a row in July back in 52. And that means that they're trying to get our attention. There is communication. Not that the public was made aware of that, but our government certainly was. And now recently we have David Grush and Lou Elizondo talking in 2026 that they're aware that our government does in fact have communication with this advanced civilization. So no, we're not completely in the dark. All you have to do is pay attention and watch what's going on. That's my point about what he just said, the host.
Yeah. Oh my God.
What now?
Oh, nothing. I just saw 2 people carry someone and throw them off the side of a bridge, and they forgot to attach the bungee cord.
Oh, beautiful.
Dude, the devil has taken over your Twitter feed. I'm just telling you.
Oh, no. Be careful. Bring the cucumber out again.
No, that's what I'm saying. You've got demons are infected your X account.
Oh, no, this is the best entertainment you could ever have. Come on, here we go. Let's throw her over. Whee! Yeah.
Oh, my
God. That's having a bad day is what that is. A very bad day.
I don't ask for this stuff. It just pops up sometimes, and
Fortunately, the person survived.
Uh-oh.
I doubt it, but it's okay.
All right, let's continue a little bit more.
Plenty of X videos out there where people do not survive, Daryl.
No.
I've seen them.
Yeah.
Oh, the stuff last night I was seeing on Reddit was pretty grody.
Oh, God.
Edwin.
Back up.
We're losing
Edwin has his
everybody.
hand
We're
up.
losing everybody.
Go ahead, Ryan.
Mike, wasn't that 1952 flyover, wasn't the official explanation that it was a temperature inversion?
Oh, come on. There's video of these objects flying over the White House consistently. Weather inversion, my ass. Nobody bought it back then, and we're certainly not buying it now.
And then they shoot, aren't they on record as having shot at it? Or at them?
Captain Thomas Mantell, who was a fighter pilot ace in the Second World War, he went up in Washington to go after one of the craft. And his plane, which was a P-51 Mustang, one of the cutting edge technology-wise that we had back then, and his plane crashed in the desert and he died. So, yeah, we attempted to intercept, and it didn't work out very well for us.
Yeah.
Well, didn't Lou find one of the last surviving witnesses of that event when Lou was doing an interview? Did you see that?
Yeah, I saw that. There was an old man.
American guy, yeah.
Yeah.
So he says that he doesn't think it was an illusion, but people like Avi Loeb and Blue Book, or the debunkers, said it was a temperature inversion. It was all an illusion. Nothing to see here.
Because it was bullshit.
Yeah.
You knew it back then, and you certainly know it now.
Well, apparently there was something sighting over Indiana. Daryl, you went outside. He didn't look up.
Oh,
a video that just came out from Mr. BB333.
We do see things from around here. What is that? There's that database that you can go to, and we were talking about that like a few weeks ago. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, there's stuff that happens around here. I have a friend of mine that had, he posted on Facebook, this is my car detailer. He's well-known, respected. He goes, if nobody's looking in the western sky right now, you're missing a total show. And he took some pictures, and it looked like a ball a ball of light that would phase in and phase out in different places as he's looking at it.
Yeah.
He's got video of it.
Real-time video. Yeah, no, that's good, Daryl.
Got to cover the stuff as it pops out.
By the way, this interview that you're playing, it reminds me of a shrink's office. Like it's a psychologist.
Yeah, who's being shrunk? The person that would look best in here is the black mascaraed Susan Goff. she would belong in this atmosphere.
Well, there's nothing wrong with a high chair, Daryl. You just gotta kind of hop up there, you know.
All right. Anything else going out there? Let's play a little bit more of this, and then we'll.
What do they plan to do with us? What do they want to make Earth into, if anything? You know, like, because it seems like there is some level of intent for something. I mean, they're not just here for no reason, I guess, right?
Yeah, I think that one of the other things Chris Mellon said at that soul meeting that I mentioned earlier, we were talking about disclosure, and he said the other aspect of disclosure that nobody thinks about is that what happens to their plans when we disclose. And I think, and I remember that was a really interesting thought. And it was a room of he was talking to a room of 300 people. So there's a lot of whispers and chatters and just, background noise, not overly, or impolitely, but just normal. But when he said that, it all stopped. The whole room just went silent. And I thought, yeah, he's right. Nobody's thought of this. They are here with their own plans and their own intent. And the plans that are in operation now are operating under the assumption that we don't really know as a collective society what's going on.
Could be, yeah.
But what happens to their plans when we become aware that they're here?
It could change. Yeah, they could change.
Their plans could change. And we don't know what their original plans were, and we don't know how those plans will change. I think
they already know we're aware of what's going on at this point for what Trump's doing. Changing up a little bit what we're talking about here. There was a recent declassification that came from the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency. That's DARPA, I believe. Correct, Mike? Yes, Tom, absolutely. All right. This is dated...
Oh, you know it, Thomas.
13th of August, 2021. From the Commandant of the Marine Corps Fellow of DARPA to the Inspector General. Subject, SARS-CoV origins investigation with U.S. government program undisclosed document analysis. Now think about this. August 31st, 2021, we're deep in COVID. Everyone's still getting shots. Everything's going on. Social media is still locked down. You can't talk about this. If you say the stuff came out of Wuhan or anywhere else, they will kill your social media accounts, etc. Remember that time, Daryl? You'll lose your YouTube channel. They shut down your Facebook account, your Facebook groups, and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So number one, SARS-CoV-2 was an American-created recombinant bat vaccine, or its precursor virus. It was created by an EcoHealth Alliance program at the Wuhan Institute of Virology. It is suggested by the reporting surrounding the lab leak hypothesis. As suggested, so they're saying the reporting of the lab leak hypothesis was true. The details of this program have been concealed since the pandemic began. These details can be found in the EcoHealth Alliance proposal response to the DARPA Preempt Program Broad Agency Agreement dated March 2018, a document not yet publicly disclosed. The contents of the proposed program are extremely detailed. Peter Daszak lays out a step-by-step what the organization intends to do by phase and by location. The primary scientists involved, their roles, and their institutes are indicated. The funding plan for the Wuhan Institute of Virology, let me get this, and move it up a little bit, is its own document. The reasons why non-pharmaceutical interventions like masks and medical countermeasures like mRNA vaccines do not work well and can be extrapolated from the details. The reasons why early treatment protocols work as curatives as apparent. So COVID is a form, as it emerged, is likely a precursor, deliberately virulent, humanized recombinant that was to be reverse engineered into a live, attenuated SARS-CoV bat vaccine. Its nature can be determined from analysis of its genome with the context provided by the EcoHealth Alliance proposal. Joining this analysis with the UN intelligence collections on Wuhan will aid this determination. This is a 4-page document, Daryl. It was released today.
The hell of a document.
The Biden administration knew this in early 2021, what was really going on, if not before that. And they covered it up. They said in this that even that mRNA vaccines are not effective, that masks don't work. Well, why do they have us all wearing masks and distancing by 6 feet? Why were they telling everybody to get your first shot, your second shot, your third shot, and everything behind it? Look at all the people who are suffering health effects from that at this point.
And a lot of people got rich.
Including people from the National Institute of Health, including Fauci, who has patents that were put out there. And the way the NIH is set up, those patents generate income for him, right?
Not
It's perpetual.
Vaccine manufacturers.
The income that Fauci receives from the pharmaceutical companies for those patents are they're perpetual, meaning that he will receive every year a couple of $100,000 or more from these pharmaceutical companies, and in the event of his death, his surviving family members will continue to receive this income from these patents endlessly. So it's a huge amount of money that he benefited from with this.
So if this isn't disclosure, granted it's not UFOs, but it's still disclosure tonight. And there's a bunch of stuff Tulsi's bringing out we're going to be covering. So when synthesized with the EcoHealth Alliance proposal, U.S. collections confirm U.S. EcoHealth Alliance was performing the work proposed. The analysts produced the reports in a vacuum, absent the context of the proposal provides. As a fellow at DARPA, I could see both and can do the synthesis. For instance, the Wuhan Institute of Virology proposal identified the intelligence reports are named in the proposal. These people use a lexicon of the proposal in their collections, and the virus variant proposed for experimentation are identical to those gleaned by collections. Moreover, I am also privy to information obtained by Congressional Office investigators and by Drastic, which further corroborates that the program detailed in the BAA response was conducted until it was shut down in April of 2020. This is like 5 months into the COVID pandemic that struck this planet. The purpose of EcoHealth program, called Diffuse in the proposal, was to inoculate bats in the Yunnan, China caves where confirmed SARS-CoVs were found. Ostensibly, doing this would prevent other SARS-CoV pandemics. The bat's immune system would be reinforced to prevent a SARS-CoV from emerging. The specific language used in this quote inoculate is inoculate bats with the novel chimeric polyvirus spike proteins to enhance their adaptive immune memory against specific high-risk viruses. Being defense-related, it makes sense that EcoHealth submitted the proposal first to the Department of Defense before it settled with the National Institute of Health. The BAA response to this on March of 2018 was submitted by Peter Daszak, president of EcoHealth Alliance. Now, we have to remember, looking back at this time, it was already illegal to do gain-of-function research, wasn't it, Daryl?
That's my understanding, yes.
Yeah.
And they went past that because they wanted to do the research. Why do you think they did this research in China, which is still technically a foreign adversary
Well, it's the
of
same
ours?
reason, Mike. We have all of those, if you want to call it, biolabs that we heard about that were in Ukraine, and everybody, including Avril Haines, said, no, that was nothing but disinformation.
It's not disinformation. It's the truth. But what is disinformation is what you just read in the statement, that they're claiming that they were attempting to do the gain of function to inoculate the bats against COVID and SARS infection. That's not true either, because the gain of function research that they were doing in Wuhan had to do with taking the initial viral.
Yep. So DARPA rejected the proposal because the work was too close to violating the gain of function moratorium, despite what Peter Daszak says in the proposal that it would not. As is known, Dr. Fauci with NSAID did not reject the proposal. The work took place at the Wuhan Institute of Virology and at several sites in the United States. What? Identified in the detailed proposal. So they weren't just working on this shit in China. They were doing this shit within the borders of the continental United States. This is just fucked up.
It's beyond fucked up. But the point I was making just now is that the gain of function research that they were doing on this COVID-19 was to have it be able to go from the bat species to human species, which it didn't do naturally on its own. So they specifically weaponized this virus and used as a bioweapon against human beings, not just bats.
Yeah. So
that was
You're breaking up, Mike.
Coming out now.
Yeah. Ego Health Alliance response to the preempt BAA is placed along with other proposal documents in the preempt folder of the DARPA Biological Technologies Office JWICS, which is top secret share drive, and they're saying exactly where it's at. This folder was empty for a year. The files completely unmarked with classification or distribution data were placed in this folder in July of 2021, which conspicuously aligns with the media reporting, my probing, and Senator Paul's inquiry into the National Institute of Health gain-of-function programs. The unmarked nature combined with the timing signals that these documents were being hidden, no files at DARPA go unmarked in classification or distribution, including proprietary documents. Furthermore, preempt is an unclassified program. The files are all now also being held by Marine Corps Intelligence Activity, the MCIA. They are identified as in reference in the block above. SARS-CoV-2 is referred to as SARS-CoV Wuhan Institute of Virology, WIV is what they were calling it, is a synthetic spike protein chimera engineered to attach to human ACE2 receptors. Wow. And there's more.
Which is the point I was just making that they discovered back then. And I got to tell you, I'm not a fan, and I don't always agree with Senator Rand Paul's politics, but back then he was like a pit bull going after Anthony Fauci and the Institute of Virology. He really had hearings that it was almost like a drama, a soap opera.
And our current Human Health and Services, secretary, wrote a book about Fauci called The Real Anthony Fauci, and it was basically exposing exactly this.
So this stuff was inserted into recumbent bats' SARS-CoV backbone. It's likely a live vaccine not yet engineered to a more untenable state that the program sought to create with its final version. It leaked and spread rapidly because it was aerosolized, as it could efficiently infect bats in caves, but it was not ready yet to infect bats yet, which is why it does not appear to infect bats. The reason the disease is so confusing is because it is less a virus than it is an engineered spike proteins hitchhiking a ride on a SARS-CoV quasi-species swarm. The closer it is to the final live attenuated vaccine form, the more likely that it hasn't been in de-attenuating since escaping in August of 2019. So, Mike, that they've pinpointed when this stuff went out into the open. We all thought it was like in October, November. They've pinpointed the actual leak of this virus to August 2019.
Right, because there were cases in China that they were burying and suppressing of people who were already infected around Wuhan.
Yeah.
And then it spread to Europe and then into the United States. And the reason New York was ground zero was because of the international airports we have here, 3 of them, and all of the people coming in that were infected that we didn't know anything about until after it was too late.
Out of the 14 in this back, which includes me, you, and others, there are 3 people in here that have lost loved ones because of this shit.
Oh, we fucking have.
Yes.
And we'll never forget or forgive that.
No, never, ever. And that's why these people need to be brought to trial, and they need to pay the price for the shit they did, because what they did was fucking illegal. So the utility of certain countermeasures can be extrapolated from the documents. A, the team selected the SARS-CoVids that were most monoclonal antibody and vaccine resistant. They wanted to find the stuff there was no cure for. It is not practical to inoculate bats directly with shots, nor can bats get respiratory infections from droplets. So the team developed an aerosol to deliver the inoculants directly into the caves. To ensure that it worked well, they developed the aerosol against masked civets, or civets. The proposal also notes that Inferion, remdesivir, and chloroquine phosphate inhibit SARS-CoV viral replication. Wait a minute, Mike. So chloroquine, right?
Yes.
What they went and shut down and told people they can't take it. If they did, they're going to die.
Right.
They knew it would
worked.
shut this thing down.
Well, listen, if you remember in Trump's first term, when he
Talk about
came
this for a
down-
second, Mike. I'll be right back. Go on.
Yeah, when the president got COVID, they gave at the White House, they were using a treatment of this medication that they were telling the public you can't use because it won't have any effect. So they were lying then, and they were lying now, and they made this bioweapon that escaped, and they couldn't contain, and then they lied to cover it up. And why were they using things like masks back in 2020 when this first came out? Well, because if you remember, people were dying and they had no idea how to contain or control it. They didn't know what it was publicly back then. And what they did is they threw everything they could come up with to try to separate people, to try to keep the infection from rising. And they pushed the vaccine, which wasn't tested and turned out to cause more harm than good, and forced it down everybody's throat. They told perfectly healthy people that weren't at risk, like certain people who were either obese or elderly or have pre-existing medical conditions.
Because of the profits they were going to make, they had the patents on this stuff. Fauci had the patents on the COVID vaccine that everyone was manufacturing and shipping, and that's why they were pushing it.
Correct. And Biden administration told everybody it doesn't matter who you are, you have to take this because if you are gainfully employed in a private company or a government agency, if you don't take it, you'll be fired on the spot. So they've rammed it down everybody's throat, like it or not, which was wrong.
So the next one, because of its own nature, the SARS-CoV Wuhan... The Wuhan flu, let's call it, illness is rapidly resolved with early treatment that inhibits the viral replication that spreads the spike proteins around the body. And that's what the vaccine did. They put spike proteins into people's body, and your body was actually reproducing this shit. What about the autopsy videos that came out afterwards that we talked about here on the show, Thomas? Do you remember? Yeah, when the veins were all completely clogged up with these, with this stuff. Yeah.
The undertakers, they were complaining about what they were pulling out of the bodies. Remember?
Yeah, and they still are
from the spike protein. Yeah. Right. Yep. Which led to then what they call long COVID. But what is that really? That is the effect
No.
ongoing.
Long COVID is something else. That's after you've actually gotten it, and the COVID sticks around for the longest time and fucks with your immune system. I dealt with that for like 3 or 4 years. I was on meds with it for everything. Way too much prednisone, way too much chemo that they put me on to try and kill this shit. Now, people have gotten other stuff like heart damage and other things coming from the vaccine, but long-term COVID for a lot of people, that's actually what you get when you actually get this stuff because of how it was created by man.
Right. And I remember the accounts of perfectly healthy 16-year-old high school football players that never had any medical issues their entire life.
But they got the
shot. And they were dropping dead on the fucking field, if you remember.
Because it would attack the muscles in the heart like it attacked my mom's muscles in her heart and destroyed one of her valves. And she had to go in for valve replacement. It was just a fucking mess.
A nightmare that we're still dealing with. It's not over.
So, okay, so
COVID's still around.
Yeah, well, you know, they also replication that spreads the spike proteins around the body, which induce harmful overactive immune response, which I got as the body tries to clear the spikes from the ACE2 receptors. Many of the early treatment protocols ignored by the authorities work because they inhibit viral replication or modulate the immune response to the spike proteins, which makes sense within the context of what Equal Health was creating. Some of these treatment protocols also inhibit the action of the emergent spike protein. For instance, ivermectin, identified as curative in April 2020, that they shot everything down. They wouldn't let people get this drug, and people were having to take, animal versions of it. Works throughout all phases of the illness because it both inhibits viral replication and modulates the immune response. Of no, chloroquine, like hydroxychloroquine, the people were taking phosphate, identified in April of 2020 as a curative, is identified in the proposal as a SARS-CoV inhibitor, as is Inferion, identified in May 2020 as a process to make it curative. They knew about the stuff, Mike, at the start of it. But they...
And if you remember, you and I were talking about this when this was all going on. And one of the things that they weren't saying back then publicly is that if you contracted COVID naturally and got through the couple of days that you were on your ass with it, you had better protection from your own body than any of the vaccine that they were forcing everybody to take.
Let me get here we go. The gene-encoded mRNA vaccines work poorly, and they knew about this, folks. They knew about this when they were getting everybody to take this shit because they are synthetic replications of the already synthetic SARS-CoV Wuhan Institute of Virology spike proteins and possess no other epitopes. The mRNA instructs the cells in the human body to produce synthetic copies of the COVID synthetic spike protein directly into your bloodstream, wherein they spread and produce the same ACE2 immune storm that the recombinant vaccine does. Many doctors in the country have identified that the symptoms of the vaccine reactions mirror the symptoms of the disease, which corroborates with the similar synthetic nature and function of the respective spike proteins. The vaccine recipient has no defense against the bloodstream entry, but their nose protects them from recombinant spike protein quasi-species during quote-unquote natural infection. So, but because they were getting this false infection, your body had no protection against this stuff.
Yeah, you're right. None.
You get the last
and
page
they were
up here.
Trying to cover this up. Now, if you remember, also going again back at that time frame, they were keeping this a secret. They didn't want the public to know about it. But there were people in the medical field that was speaking out against this publicly. And one of them was the mRNA creator, Dr. Robert Malone.
Yeah, and they shut him down. They shut down all of his social media accounts. They banned the guy.
They did. They fucking canceled him right off the bat. And any show that he went on, they shut that down as well. It was horrible what they did. They stripped him of his rights as an American citizen. And all he was trying to do is tell the truth about this vaccine and COVID.
By the way, Kelly Barut had asked in the chat, where is this study from? So this is a It's a review compiled by the U.S. intelligence community, the IC. Right. And the reason why you have it in front of you right now is because Tulsi Gabbard, on her way out, declassified it.
Right. And we only have 4 pages of a multi-page report, but I have a feeling we're going to be getting the rest of it, though.
Oh, yeah. She's not going to let this go.
No. Furthermore, the EcoHealth proposal states that the vaccine approach lacks sufficient epitope coverage to protect against quasi-species of coronavirus. Consequently, they were trying to make vaccines work by targeting immune boosting via vaccine inoculators using chimeric polyvariant recombinant spike proteins. The nature of using spike protein vaccines with one epitope against a spike protein vaccine with a quasi-species may explain the unusual and potentially detrimental antibody response amongst the vaccinated to the new COVID variants. So they were basically giving people new variants of COVID that didn't relate to the other ones, and it was killing everybody. Fundamentally, right. The knowledge of the proposals provides signals that the risk of antibody-dependent enhancement, ADE, from vaccination should be evaluated with high priority on top of the reality that single epitope vaccines will have little effect, folks, against SARS-CoV, Wuhan Institute of Virology, as indicated in the proposal. The potential
now, because
for
of the emergency vaccine, whatever, however it came out of the government, because it was an emergency vaccine, I don't believe they're liable for any of this.
No, nothing, zero.
Because usually you would take this document and weaponize it and go sue the fuck out of these people, but I don't think you can do that because of the emergency nature of the vaccine.
No, that was specifically written in for the pharmaceutical companies that were producing the vaccine. Right. They said due to its experimental creation, there is no legal liability, meaning you cannot sue the government or the pharmaceutical companies for whatever.
That's why we have to go against Anthony Fauci and challenge the auto pen, if you want to call a pardon he was given by Biden. That is the biggest fucking joke that should never have happened. Why would you pardon someone who knowingly did this to the fucking world unless your choice was to try and depopulate us?
For the same reason he pardoned his son, because he knew he was guilty.
Yeah.
Right. With the cocaine all over the White House that they accidentally found. Yeah, there's crimes against humanity, and they tried to cover it up. And it's still illegal today like it was back then. So it's nice that Tulsi Gabbard is trying to make this public. But what are they actually going to do about it? This should have been public up front. There's no reason they should have been covering this up if they knew this all this time. Right. 100%. But they covered it up back then. Money. It's all about money, Mike. Unfortunately, yeah. But you remember what they were saying after we got through most of this shit. They were saying, if you think that you're safe now and it's over, there's going to be the next pandemic that's going to be far worse that's around the corner. And I've already been seeing people in masks running around again, driving alone in their cars. Yeah.
I hate to see that.
Well, wait a minute. Weren't we told to wear your mask, take your shot, and stay at home, and everything's just fine? In your car, Ryan, with the windows up and nobody else in it, and you're wearing a fucking mask? I would yell at these people in the street and ask them, is there something wrong with you? Well, do you have mental issues? I'm just telling you what people in the public have been told. I thought that everything was fine. There's nothing to worry about.
And these are the same people don't believe the UFOs are real.
By the way, I looked in the news today, and I don't think this story has been covered by one single news outlet.
Right. Well, hopefully it will.
No, it hasn't. Well, we're going to put the word out.
Because don't forget, in addition to this stuff, remember how we had the story about all the, what do you want to call it? There are all these biolabs that were in Ukraine, and it was even Tulsi Gabbard Avril Haines, who was the director of national intelligence, came out in hearings and said there were never any biolabs funded by the United States in Ukraine. But if you look at this one particularly here in Odessa, it's a biolabs, a biosafety level 3, which is, I believe Wuhan was a 4. Right here, and they were also doing biological weapons storage in Ukraine from the United States. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 different labs we had in Ukraine, and a lot of them are all in the areas that were all taken over by Russia.
Right.
And yet we say
Russia
we
has
didn't
been
have
bombing
anything
the
over
shit
there.
out of Ukraine.
It's fucking Russian disinformation. No, this is about disclosure. This is about the fucking truth that was going on. That you know, it doesn't matter if you supported Biden or not. This was a crime against humanity that was being promoted by the federal government during the Biden administration, and those who are responsible for this shit and the lies about this stuff need to be brought up, and they need to be tried for treason and treated as traitors against the United States government and against humanity in general. They all need to be fucking executed. Flat out.
Oh, they need to be held accountable.
They need to be executed, Mike. I'm just saying, too many people died from this fucking shit. These lies, what are they doing in all these labs and all this shit? Shut the shit down, destroy all the different stuff, and take those who are responsible and line them up and take them down.
Yes, because millions of people died as a result of this biological weapon they created.
Yeah.
And no one is answering for that.
By the way,
You're right.
the summary, not just Ukraine, it was 30 foreign nations that had 120 biolabs that we funneled $700 million to. That's what came out of that report.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It goes to show you how widespread this was.
Yeah.
This is something that needs to be prosecuted. And I don't believe with where we are right now geopolitically, with Iran, the Middle East, the oil, inflation, disclosure, all of these things, that anyone is going to pay attention to this and do anything about it, unfortunately.
And these are the kind of disclosures we need tonight, Mike. And we'll continue to cover them.
Right. That's right. Because it isn't just about UAP. It's also about the world we live in and the shit going on around us.
So if you're still watching the show, you haven't subscribed yet, what the hell are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button, please. We do a lot to bring the show together. We also, appreciate if you can give us a thumbs up. We have 160 likes, still 274 people watching the show right now. If you haven't given us a thumbs up, please take a moment to do so. We greatly appreciate it, Mike. This has been one heck of a show, but it just kind of shows you, there are things we have to open up into covering because it's about disclosure. It's about bringing out the truth, and we're tired of the lies.
We are, especially when it costs us the lives of our loved ones and people who are innocent in this that should not have died as a result of the bullshit and the cover-up.
Really quick, I want to thank Spyrax for the donation tonight for our super chat. We demand the truth. Thanks again for all your work. I can't express enough. I want to thank you. Skywatch Signal, thanks for stopping out tonight. Mike, thank you for being here. It's been one heck of a great show.
Oh, and we went long again, like we did yesterday on the show.
Oh, not for 4 hours, but we're 4.5 hours into it. So I want to thank everybody for coming out. Thank you, audience. Appreciate you coming around. Thank you, everyone in the back. Daryl, Andy's been around, and Kyle's been here talking about a bunch of stuff. Daryl, we missed seeing you tonight.
Yeah, well, it went to 3 o'clock in the morning last night. Do you remember that part?
No, I went to bed early.
My hair is standing straight up on top of my head right now, so no, I'm not going to.
I know that hairstyle, not mine, but Luke gets that. So anyway, as we usually say, folks, at the end of every episode of Disclosure tonight, thank you for coming out. I appreciate you being here. This is all not for us. It's for everybody out there. And it's a great time to hang out and enjoy your national security. You're not enjoying national security alone. All right. And as we usually say at the end of every episode of Disclosure tonight, eyes open, no fear, be safe, everybody, but where to go?
Go back to Party City where you belong.
Absolutely. We'll catch you on the flip side. See you soon, everybody. Take care now. Bye-bye.